Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says there are quarters hell-bent on scuttling the crusade against illicit brew and drugs in the country. Speaking at the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, Gateway Church in Roysambu, Nairobi, the Deputy President said it was clear that his fight against the vices had made many people uncomfortable.
Wengine wanajaribu kuniuzia uoga mimi. Oh, Deputy President, unajua hii watu ya pombe ni kali sana. Wewe na ni mtu ya kuchaguliwa. Si watu watakufukuza vile walifukuza Mutudho. So mimi niseme namna hii. Kama hii kiti itapotea kwa sababu ya kusema watoto wetu hatutakubali wauziwe sumu, niko tayari. Niko tayari. Na hakuna kiongozi yeyote gavana unajua mtu angetaka kuwa anaongoza walevi tupu.
The government believes that an all-out war on the production and sale of second-generation liquor will save the lives of millions of youth who were trapped in the vicious cycle.
The policy of President William Ruto that we will eliminate drugs and drug abuse in the Republic of Kenya. And Madam County Commissioner, your minister has spoken to the nation on behalf of the cabinet, Professor Kindiki. And he said and declared the war on drug and drug abuse.
A section of the clergy in Teso North Busia, in throwing its weight behind the war, said the problem is being aggravated by the porousness of the country's border.
Tunasema ni janga kwa sababu Kenya hii inajulikana kama a drinking nation, na watu wengi wanapokunywa wanakosa ile productivity, kufanya kazi vizuri, na pia imesambaratisha familia nyingi kuanguka kwa sababu ya ulevi kupindukia.
Meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has reiterated the government's commitment to addressing all issues affecting all agricultural subsectors.
Mambo ya kahawa tumetoa 4 billion shillings ya cherry fund ya kusaidia wakulima. Na hapa Embu we have released about 248 million. Kama kuna society hawajapatia wakulima, Governor, please check for us. We would like to know why. Kwa sababu pesa tayari wamepata. Kama haijafika kwa wakulima, iko makosa.
Your Excellency, tunajaribu sana. Saa zingine pressure iko mingi kidogo, lakini Your Excellency, saa zingine tunasukumwa kidogo, tunachanganyikiwa, lakini kwa sababu you are on call every minute, you are always guiding us and we are very happy. Your Excellency, mambo ya kahawa, the way you are guiding us, Your Excellency, we are working very hard in that program with the PSS concern.
The war on alcohol, tunaendelea. Tumeshikana na County Commissioner all the way to the Assistant Chief. Last week receive list ya 500 bars and clubs. Na hizo tumesema tunazifunga zote as we renew licenses.
The DP is set to meet representatives of avocado farmers on Tuesday for a comprehensive engagement on issues affecting the subsector.
The Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims has expressed its gratitude to the government for the kind gesture of donating and distributing relief food to needy Muslims as they prepare for the holy month of Ramadan. The exercise kicked off on Saturday with government spokesperson Dr. Isaac Mwaura presiding over the distribution for the county of Nairobi. SUPKEM National Chairman Hassan Olenado called on Muslim faithful to remain united and embrace generosity during this month of fasting.
As Muslim faithful across the globe prepare for the holy month of Ramadan, where fasting is prescribed for believers, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslim has lauded the government for launching the Ramadan special relief allocation and waiving taxes on importation of dates which are favorites for breaking the fast.
It's a period that we Muslims are required to inculcate the values of discipline, love, forgiveness, giving and sharing. It's a month during which we strengthen our devotion to Allah, the Almighty, reflect on our deeds in society, and seek even more divine grace.
SUPKEM also called on the faithful to not be divided over the beginning and the end of the holy month, which are marked by the sighting of the moon.
Despite the minor differences among the schools of thought over to when to commence the fast, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims calls upon the Muslim faithful to remain united.
In Nairobi County, Zakat Kenya has commenced its annual distribution of foodstuff to aid needy Muslims across the county to have decent meals as they break their fast in the evenings of the holy month.
Mwezi wa Ramadhani ni mwezi wa rahma, ni mwezi wa kuhurumiana, ni mwezi wa kushare. Yule ambaye yuko nayo ashare na yule ambaye hana.
By today, we hope to finish the distribution because tomorrow is a working day, and we hope that every person who has been in the list for today's distribution receives the food today.
Ramadan is the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, where Sawm, also known as fasting, is a pillar.
The prolonged crisis at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission means some of the country's democratic processes are at a halt. While some of the commissioners have had their terms expired, others have resigned. Thus, the secretariat in place cannot handle its core mandate. As such, not only have the electorate in Banissa constituency gone without representation in the National Assembly for close to a year, but the 12-year-old, that is the constitution deadline for review of boundaries, and therein the probability of adding more constituencies is also just weeks away before the end of the month. Now, Giverson Maina puts this into perspective, taking into account frantic efforts to resolve the crisis.
The residents of Banissa constituency seem to have borne the brunt of the quagmire at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, whose reconstitution has literally been the pawn in the year-long political tirade in the wake of the disputed election, denying them a member of the National Assembly for that long. Their then MP, Kulo Maalim Hassan, died on March 29th last year, and the constitutional 90 days within which they were to have a by-election has long lapsed.
The High Court was very clear. It has declared itself on what's to be done next. So our appeal is, please fast track and constitute this commission, so that the people of Banissa can have a representative.
Hakuna wakilishi wote ambaye anaenda kuwakilisha sisi huko eneo bunge ambaye mali shida ya wananchi ambaye anatutulia huko kwa bunge, hakuna mtu anatuwakilisha sisi.
Unaomba sisi kama watu ya Banissa, tafadhali wabatie sasa imbi yetu bare kamili.
The mistrust between the political divides saw their battle over IBC's reconstitution in and out of court, with eventual preference for dialogue. This latest option portended a deal struck in the report of the National Dialogue Committee presented to President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga on Friday.
And I'm very proud that we finally have a report, and the report has already been adopted by both houses of parliament, and we are now well on course to implementing it.
I will be in touch with Honorable William Ruto after he's been given this report, he's received this report, to see how we can get together to ensure that the other matters which have been referred to us are dealt with, and that report is implemented in the full.
The bipartisan report recommends an amendment to the IBC Act of 2011 to reconstitute the selection panel, increasing it from the current 7 to 9 members to accommodate a wide spectrum of stakeholders and interest groups, such as the Law Society of Kenya. To avoid a similar pitfall in future, Mandera North MP Bashir Abdullah is proposing that the IBC CEO be empowered to conduct by-elections in absence of the commission. Besides the February High Court orders to the Nelson Makanda-led IBC selection panel to immediately recruit the new commission, the next constituencies and ward boundaries review ought to be undertaken and completed by this month. Such a tightrope to walk.
Giverson Maina reporting there. The Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, is expected in Denmark on Monday, that is today, to represent President William Ruto in the Danish-Africa High-Level Dialogue Summit on strengthened partnership between the Kingdom of Denmark and Africa. The High-Level Dialogue Summit seeks to address the new Danish policy anchored on 3 pillars of trade and investment, climate action, peace and security. Mudavadi will also hold bilateral meetings with the Danish Prime Minister and leading Danish investors to discuss strategies to explore untapped opportunities.
The theme of the dialogue being strengthened partnership with Africa for mutual prosperity resonates extremely well with His Excellency President Ruto's advocacy for a paradigm shift from donor-recipient to donor-recipient partnership to a partnership at equal level for mutual benefits of all the partners.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria is calling on Meru political leaders to unite and complement each other in delivering services. Speaking during a church service in Imenti, Meru County, Kuria said political differences will only deny the region development. Meanwhile, National Assembly Budget Committee Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro has assured coffee farmers of guaranteed returns, saying that 6 billion shillings have been allocated to Coffee Charity Fund.
Public Service Performance and Delivery Management CS Moses Kuria was in Meru County for a church service and fundraising event, as well as to preach political unity to a divided Meru political leadership.
Mkiendelea vita ya viongozi hapa Meru, mambo itakuwa inawapita juu. Na msisahau, kama kuna kitu ya Meru ilikuwa imeandikwa ikuje Meru, mkute mnapigana. Bado si ati itaenda kukuliwa na mbwa. Kuna wengine wanagojea.
Speaking at a similar church service in Eldoret, National Assembly Budget Committee Chairperson Ndindi Nyoro said the government had enhanced budgetary allocation for farm inputs.
Na ile fertilizer tunanunua tukienda mbele is what we call crop specific fertilizer. Kama ni mkulima wa mahindi, anapewa ile inastahili mahindi. Kama ni mkulima wa kahawa, anapewa ile inastahili kahawa.
Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi warned officials from the National Cereals and Produce Board against demanding bribes to serve farmers.
Kuna shida cereals. Mtu anaenda, anaandikisha anataka fertilizer, lakini usipotoa kitu, unaambiwa usijui uko na bangapi huko nyuma. Mimi nataka niwapatie onyo, na hiyo maneno tumesikia. Especially lesos. Hiyo ukora lazima ikome.
Elsewhere in Kakamega County, a section of legislators led by Lugari MP Nambi Nabuera now want Parliament to probe the recent promotion of teachers by the Teachers Service Commission.
TSC wanakuja mbele ya kamati yetu. Wanakuja mbele ya kamati yetu watuonyeshe usawa ulioko katika majina ya promotion.
The Minister for Education, he will come to Parliament next week. Atuambie hizi interviews walifanya hapa Kakamega, watu wenye waliajiriwa walitoka wapi, because hawajatupatia majina, wameweka tu kitu inaitwa TSC number.
And the visiting East Africa Legislative Assembly members have called for more efforts to promote regional integration and development.
Integration is people-led. So people also need to take initiative. Take the trouble to find out what is East Africa all about.
The representatives led by South Sudan's Sakai Deng were speaking in Narok, where they also relished Maasai roast meat and soup delicacies.
To a daylight robbery where the management and staff at Pinewood Beach Resort and Spa in Diani, Kwale County are seeking justice months after falling victim to robbery. The aggrieved workers say despite the availability of CCTV camera footage as evidence of the crime committed by armed robbers, no action has been taken and the criminals are still at large.
Events of Friday, November 17th, 2023 are fresh in the minds of workers at Pinewood Beach Resort and Spa in Diani, Kwale County. The daylight robbery was captured on CCTV cameras. A section of workers injured during the incident has visible scars as a constant reminder of the harrowing ordeal.
Mimi yule mpishi mwenye nilipigwa chini pale, nilivamiwa na watu kama 4 5 hivi, walinipiga nikiwa chini. Mpaka sasa tunavyoongea, hii alama yenye naona hapa kwa ubavu, hii ni alama yenye ni tukio ambalo lilitokea ile siku ile.
Tulipigwa na tukaumia. Na statement zikachukuliwa, sisi wenyewe tukachukuliwa, tukapelekwa, sisi tukaenda mpaka polisi tukaandikisha statement. Washukiwa walishikwa na wakawekwa ndani.
During the attack, property worth millions of shillings was destroyed. Dozens of domestic and foreign tourists who were being accommodated at the hotel were left shaken.
Kama mimi niliumizwa meno, wengine walikatakatwa. Tuliumia sana na kulitokea majeraha mengi sana.
We need justice. Yeah. How comes that mtu anakuja to does something and thinks that he can get away with it?
Kenya Coast Tourism Association Chief Executive Officer Julius Owino says that lack of action from relevant authorities may dent the image of an already fragile tourism sector that is yet to fully recover after the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's unfortunate that up to now there is nothing that has been done, no formal arrests done, no prosecution done. So it paints a picture that someone can just walk in and beat up staff anywhere and nothing happens, which is a very bad thing.
The hotel management and the victims are appealing to the Director of Criminal Investigations to intervene and help them get justice.
Quite an unfortunate incident there, and hope that justice will be served as soon as possible. Now, they say that blood is thicker than water, but for 9 siblings from Chepsir, Kericho County, this has lost value in the ensuing contest for control over a 90-acre piece of land left behind by their late parents. The wee hours of Sunday saw goons invade the land in question and lay waste 45 acres of tea and grazing land, allegedly under the instruction of 5 sisters. Let's get the details of that story.
Control over the vast prime land has for some time pitted siblings against each other.
45 acres of tea have been destroyed. Napier grass, trees, exotic and indigenous.
At the center of the storm is a court ruling is said to have favored the 5 sisters against their 4 brothers, though no directive was given.
Our brother and sister are the ones who are doing these destructions.
And in a sad twist of events, alleged hired goons invaded the farm, destroying a 45-acre tea plantation and grazing land on Sunday morning to the chagrin of the aggrieved 4 brothers.
So you can tell I'm so emotional about this. We need to come in here. The government need to come in here and see what's going on here.
The 4 brothers are now calling for government intervention in the dispute that seemingly escalated in the past week.
And we are still in court. But our sisters and brothers came and started destroying the crops. So it's very tough.
Necessity is the mother of invention, a saying coined by Greek philosopher Plato centuries ago still holds today. However, when design is added to inventions, the outcome are products that not only solve problems or meet a need, but which bring both beauty and aesthetics in various facets of our daily lives. This year's Nairobi Design Festival was replete with such innovative artistry. Ralph Wangutse samples some of these innovations in the following report.
In a buzz of excitement, artists and designers converged in the Nairobi Design Weekly Festival to showcase their innovation, creativity, and resourcefulness through art, photography, and fashion to address challenges caused by globalization.
Here you'll see what design can do with the Redesign Everything Challenge. That's open to the 20th of March, and that's something people can get involved in. It's got cash prizes, it's got a business accelerator in Amsterdam. So that's for all different creatives from across the industry from many African countries. We have vendors who come on the weekends to sell products. We have exhibitors who are here to showcase bigger things sometimes smaller things. And we find outdoor spaces, we find indoor spaces for them to exhibit. We also have workshop spaces.
The event, which prides itself in promoting community and cultural diversity, attracted exhibitors from different cultures, including the Turkana community.
We do portraits, we do paintings for traditional information. We get some, by doing portraits, we portray the culture of the community, Turkana community.
The festival organizers are urging Kenyan artists and designers to take advantage of the available opportunities within and outside the country.
Fashion designers, a lot of the time, start their businesses as hobbies, but they don't have the business skills to make it profitable, to make it a sustainable business. We also do installations where fashion designers can show their designs just so that they can interact with customers, get real-time feedback, and at the same time showcase their designs.
Currently in its 9th edition, Nairobi Design Festival is taking a key role in shaping Kenya's creative economy. Raf Wangutusi for Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you, Ralph Wangotusi. Now to the counties where residents of Ivona village in Lugari constituency, that is in Kakamega County, are demanding the arrest and prosecution of police officers who shot and killed 2 young men. Now the deceased were allegedly on their way to work when they fell victim of the fatal shooting.
Addressing mourners at the funeral of the 2 young who were shot and killed allegedly by police in Nairobi, Lugari Member of Parliament Nabii Nabwera, his Kolomani counterpart Bernard Shinali, and Kakamega County Senator Boni Halwale supported the call for accountability and justice in the murder case.
I've decided on my own to petition Parliament to confirm all those boys for that company closed. Sheria ya Kenya lazima tulikula kiapo na namuuliza Rais William Samoei. With due respect, you cannot preside over government where they are casualizing every job.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Agriculture has assured maize farmers that no farmer who registered for subsidized fertilizers will be left out as the planting season is set to start.
Shida ya mbolea sio hapa Kipkelion peke yake, Kenya mzima imetatuliwa na utaona vile itachaa kwa kila depot na kila pahali penye wakulima wanaenda kutoa. So wakulima wasikue na wasiwasi kwa sababu tayari serikali wametatua.
In West Pokot County, several organizations and stakeholders have called for an affirmative action to assist women from marginalized communities cope with the climate change and other emerging challenges.
Women have ventured in ushanga, that is, they do beadwork, of which they don't have proper marketing. So that one is not enough to cater for their needs. So you find education also is still a problem in our community.
And the Business and Human Rights Resource Center has highlighted the urgent need for investors to prioritize the rights of workers, indigenous people, and local communities amid reports of human rights violations.
As a country now, we are moving forward with the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights, where we have domesticated the UN guiding principles on business and human rights.
Elsewhere in Nakuru County, licensed scrap metal dealers are appealing to the county's administration to reconsider a downward review of the license fee.
Nakata license 250,000, tuliomba at least hiyo license irudishwe kama 100,000, na pia tunaomba pia governor wetu license yetu ya scrap tunalipishwa 100,000, na tunasumbuliwa sana na watu wa county. Tungeomba hiyo license irudishwe 10,000 vile ingekuwa.
That story by Jacqueline Masharia brings us to the end of the news this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to start your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. It's always a pleasure. My name is Mariambo. Coming up next is Victor Law. He'll be taking you through the political intrigues of the week. Bye for now.
KBC Channel 1 imeandaa vipindi spesheli katika mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhan mwaka huu kwa ajili yako.
Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Kando na ukumbi wa Kiislamu na hutuba ya Ijumaa, kutakuwa na makala yanayoangazia maswala ya funga, mawaidha,
whosoever witnesses the month of Ramadan, then he should fast.
Vipindi vya mapishi.
Katika mapishi ya Ramadhani tutatayarisha pilau ya korosho. Utahitaji viazi, vitunguu vinne vikubwa, na zabibu
na kaswida mbalimbali. Ramadan kana. Pia tumekuandalia kalenda ya Ramadhan ili kukuweka kwenye mstari wa mbele katika funga yako. Tazama runinga ya KBC Channel 1 katika mwezi huu mtukufu wa Ramadhan ili kukuza na kuhifadhi imani yako.
The program is now 4 minutes past 7 a.m. Welcome to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya. Today being a Monday, the 11th day is Eye on Politics, and we're taking a look at what's happening in the political arena. I have got local dailies that I'll be taking a look at, so stick around for that. I have got 3 papers. Allow me to do this, breaking the law, okay? All right, so this is what I'll begin. Let me take a look at what we have on the traffic situation before you leave your house. So let me start with, of course, the capital city, starting with Nairobi. So far, yes, the outlook looks pretty fine as this particular morning from western side of the city, that is all the way from Kangemi coming down to Westlands roundabout, looking pretty fine. A bit of some traffic as you just join the expressway here. This is where the traffic is, but after that it's not so good actually. Past that place, this must be around Lyons Place as you come towards the Westlands. After that, it's now moving as you come into the CBD. All right, thereabout you'll get your drive or your coming to town pretty easy. Now, how about getting to the CBD? The entire stretch in the Central Business District, so far so good. Nothing much to report about here. The only problem is the usual culprit. Today, there's a bit of some traffic. This is around Ngara or Fig Tree as you approach Globe Roundabout, the biggest roundabout in East Africa. If you didn't know, Globe Roundabout is the biggest roundabout in East Africa. It's big, okay? So, yeah, we hold a record for that. Heading on to Thika Road again, as usual, it's not so good. And it's just 5 minutes past 7 a.m. The traffic situation on Thika Road stretches all the way past Outer Ring Road, if I get it right. Yes, there we have it. No, today is around De La Rue here. So, the expressway is also affected, as well as the service lane at some point around KCA University. There's always a bus stage somewhere here, so that is why the problem is. But motorists plying that route, you'll have to get used to this. I think there's no other way. How about Outer Ring? Outer Ring, so far so good, moving as head towards Donholm, Umoja, and that side of Mutindwa, etc., etc. But as you come towards North Airport Road, that's where we are. So those coming all the way from Eastern Bypass, from Embakasi, joining Mombasa Road. Mukosa, please. Hurry. Mombasa Road looking pretty fine. There's nothing much to report about. And finally, let's take a look at what we have on Langata Road. Langata Road, so far so good. The entire stretch looking pretty fine as you come towards Wilson Airport. And then finally, Mbagathi Way joining Ngong Road. The entire stretch of Ngong Road is okay, moving pretty fine. Just a stretch around junction here as you come towards the Meteorological Department and towards Impala Club. That's RFUA grounds. After that, everything is pretty good. How about we head to the coastal city of Mombasa? What Mombasa, good morning. So far, nothing much to report about here today. Is it because it's a Monday, so everybody's slow? Hey, let's go to work. Let me start with the other side of Makupa Causeway, coming all the way from Miritini, coming down to CBD, around Sabasaba and Sabasaba Police Station, coming to the Central Business District. So far, so good. How about heading towards the whole of this stretch today? Looks pretty fine. The entire New Nyali Bridge. Leo iko sawa. What Mombasa? What's the secret? Kongo where? Kila kitu? Not so busy as yeah, not so busy today. I don't know why. But the entire stretch of Nyali Road heading all the way to the sides of Bamburi and finally headed towards Malindi, etc., moving pretty fine. Lastly, and yeah, here we are, Ferry Channel. Today, I don't know why we're not getting that traffic layout this morning, but yes, that's where we are today. Nothing much to report about. A bit of some snarl up there on the other side of Likoni Ferry Channel. Okay, so Kisumu, good morning. Marie Ambo fumbled with her Luo. We need to look for that pastor who prayed in Homa Bay. We need to supplicate for Mariambo, for her to get it, for her to get it right. Okay, she gets her Luo very well. All right, so Kisumu, good morning. The other side of, coming all the way from Kakamega Road, coming to Kondele. The best gift I usually say is for the Kakamega or Kisumu residents for that Kondele roundabout. There was a flyover here, just right outside the mall, Lake Basin Mall. It was a mess way back then, but so far it's been repaired, and now motorists, as you come from Kibuye Market past Kondele roundabout, you have your drive all through as you head towards We Got Gardens and head over to those sides. Yeah, this is where we have Lake Basin Mall. Here we are. So all of this stretch was a mess. There was a roundabout here as we head to Mamboleo, that one, and between Mamboleo roundabout and Kondele roundabout. This stretch was a mess. To anybody who plied this route between these two roundabouts, it was not so good. But yeah, thanks to the government, and that is done. Okay, how about we head to, yeah, let's leave it. I was told that I have to take a look at Nakuru. Nakuru is a city. Nakuru, good morning. Nakuru, good morning. You're not left behind today. Christmas Wathimba is coming here to tell us how Nakuru is doing, but there is no traffic layout. I don't know why. Nakuru, are you awake? What's Nakuru, are you awake? Yes, this is where we are. So there's nothing much to report about here in Nakuru, really. Always a very beautiful, beautiful town to visit. Beautiful town to visit. Please, make some effort and visit Nakuru. Very well. Okay, let me take you through the front page of the local dailies. Let me start with the front page of the People Daily. On the front page of the People Daily, window open for student loans in private varsities. This is what we have on the front page of the People Daily. Window open for student loans in private universities. There we have it. The government had locked funding to only public colleges, but now law amendment gives learners the ultimate choice on institutions to join. This is the story on the front page of the People Daily. The private institutions now have got a bit of some reprieve. There we have it. I'll take you through the details. How agencies are milking job seekers. This is a story that has appeared on the front page of the People Daily here. And again, America asks Kenya to speed up Haiti mission. An official from Haiti was here a fortnight ago to seal that deal with President William Ruto on how the Kenya police will be headed to Haiti for a peacekeeping mission and bring some sense of sanity in that troubled nation. Again, I will tell you what is happening on that particular front page. Now let's head over on what's making the front page of the People Daily here on fleshed out for you on page 4. Let's see. Learners in private varsities to enjoy state funding. That is what we have here. Learners in private universities also enjoy state funding. Last year, government only funded students who joined public universities after introducing a new model. But right now, there's a reprieve for private institutions, students joining institutions. Students wishing to pursue higher education will now have a free hand to join either public or private universities of their choice and still enjoy state funding. That is what we have here. The government has discarded plans to give Kenya University and colleges central placement service, that KUCCPS. Again, over 2 weeks ago or so, there was a widespread kind of complaint by students who are trying to do the application via that portal, and now the government has discarded the plan, and now the board responsible to place students in both public and private universities as well. So the government had last year stopped funding students who opted to join private universities after introducing a new university funding model. But now, with the last move, a student who have the ultimate choice to either join public or private university. So that was revealed last week on Thursday by Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah, who withdrew the proposed amendments on the Universities Act of 2012. And yes, you can also look at that story. It's a good move for the students who actually had it rough to access the portal. And now let me give you the highlights as fleshed out here for you on the People Daily, that students can now opt to join public or private universities and still enjoy state funding. Number two, the government last year stopped funding students who opted to join private universities after introducing a new university funding model. And now last Thursday, Leader of Majority Kimani Ichung'wah withdrew the proposed amendment on the Universities Act of 2012. And in the communication to Parliament, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula told legislators Ichung'wah that Ichung'wah had written to him seeking consent to withdraw the proposed amendment. Last but not least, Ichung'wah, however, said that the Education Committee of the National Assembly will now take up the matter. So, the key word here is that private universities had faulted the government's proposal to stop funding students in their institutions, calling for fair distribution and funding of students. A very good move there and a reprieve for students wishing to join state private universities. Okay, so this is it. Again, on politics, no retreat on illicit brew war. This, according to the DP, Gachagua vows to weed out what he calls poisonous alcohol, even if it risks his position in government. The DP vowed to remain committed to weed out the sale of illicit brew, which he says that has been eroding the social fabric of many societies. The DP spoke at PCEA Gateway Parish during the induction service of Reverend David Chege. He also said that the fight against illicit brews was a government project which he had been appointed to spearhead or to take care of. So that is what we have. Okay. Let me take you back to the front page and tell you what is here. For a majority of people, you are aware of this gentleman, Ezra Chiloba. People call him Chiloba. I don't know. Chairman, how are you? All right, Chiloba, man with 9 lives. This is what you have here. Man with 9 lives. You can take a look at that story on page 3. Why is Chiloba a man with 9 lives? You can take a look at that story pretty fine on the front page. Okay, there we have it. On page 3, the reason why is the People Daily is actually writing about Chiloba, is that New Post confirmed Chiloba's man with 9 lives moniker. In September last year, he was suspended as CEO of the Communication Authority of Kenya. And now, he was appointed to serve in the same position with the new envoys, of course. Let me just bring it here. He's been nominated as Consulate General for Los Angeles, Ezra Chiloba, who is now going to United States. The newly appointed Consul General for Los Angeles or Los Angeles? Ezra Chiloba can be described as the proverbial cat with 9 lives after being removed from various offices only to resurface in other plum positions. This is what we have. Though recommendations have been made on 2 occasions for him to be charged with abuse of office, Chiloba has never seen the inside of a courtroom, and instead his star has continued to shine brighter almost every single day. So this is where we have it. And you can take a look at that story. If you, so the moniker goes, a man with 9 lives, like a cat. If you know a cat, you'll hit that thing in a sack for dead, only to find it gone. And then you're like, nilifunga igunia, kwani ipaka imeenda wapi? So that's what it is. Okay. So you can take a look at that story. It's quite interesting. Read for your Monday. Kenya Kwanza MPs ask Raila to focus on Africa Union job push. Okay, so here we have it. Kenya Kwanza, legislators have called on Azimio leader Raila Odinga to focus on the Africa Union chairmanship campaign and leave the local politics. While speaking at ACK St. Francis Chamanda Church in Runyenjes, Embu County during a church fundraiser, the Principal Secretary, Esther Moria of State Department for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, said that members of parliament said Raila was now confusing them on which seat he was focusing on. Is he going for the AU job or still focusing on the local politics? Interesting. Interesting. Legislators in race against time to hire a new IBC team. This is what we have here. Again, an interesting bit. We have been having this back and forth on the appointment of new commissioners of the IBC. Now, new electoral team to be in place in 3 months, expected to set in motion plans to fill vacant seats. Members of the National Assembly are now burning the midnight oil to reconstitute new independent electoral and boundaries commission, IBC, to beat this year's deadline for the boundaries delimitation exercise. The new commission, expected to be in place in at least 3 months, is also expected to set in motion plans to fill vacant parliamentary and ward seats as a result of deaths and nullification of elections by the courts. That is what is here on the front page, on the inner pages, not necessarily the front page or the People Daily, making it easy for us. Crispus Othimba, engineer, already in studio. It's been years, I think around 15 years since we met here. Good to see you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
It's been a while.
It's been 6 months, not 15 years.
It seems like we met almost 2 years ago.
No. I'm well.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good to see you. And on that note, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We are taking a look at what you have. And on that note, there is no traffic in Nakuru. What's happening?
Well, there's traffic in Nairobi.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Director, just place this. I want to tell Crispus there is no traffic in Nakuru. The entire stretch is moving.
Well, you see, it's an issue of a lot of routes have been opened up in Nakuru, where you find the main highway is no longer carrying the heavier load. Okay. So most of the residents in Nakuru are able to use alternative routes to get to the CBD.
Are you trying to paint a good picture about Nakuru?
It is. We are doing
or can I just say people are still asleep?
We are doing very well.
Let me say the people are still asleep.
As I'm sitting.
But yeah, I was in Nakuru around 2 weeks ago, and so far the bypasses outside the city center has completely contributed to this one. The same applies to Eldoret.
Yes.
The same applies to Nairobi.
Yes.
So I think expanding, as an engineer, expanding those external highways and bypasses is the only way to decongest one of these major cities.
It's true, it's true. But also we need to realize as a country also, alternatives way of getting to the CBD are also something we need to plan for. Because as you open more routes, more people acquire vehicles, and therefore the load will always increase. In places like America, they have realized building roads is not always the solution. So also providing alternative ways to come to the CBD is very important. And also opening up areas that can be more vibrant in terms of urban activities outside the CBD will also help. So in Nakuru, we are also looking at expanding in terms of the urban reach for the city, so that some of the areas that are bringing load to the city are also able to take it, so that we can have outside Nakuru town, outside Nakuru city, some centers that are able to provide the kind of services that people want to find in the city.
Do you really have room for expansion in Nakuru town? Because if you had the other side of town, you're heading towards War Memorial Hospital, past State House, the other side, again on that side, you're heading towards the lake.
As you approach Nakuru from Nairobi, there is room, it is like Pipeline, Barnabas, to be able to make them, once we do the roads there, once we're able to provide the utilities, people can be able to build some very good infrastructure in terms of malls, in terms of businesses. Then as you exit Nakuru, as you go to Njoro, there is a lot of room for growth there. So we hope in the next, if you see what we are calling a county development plan, it is providing for those expansion growth in those areas, so that most the investment that we expect from the investors will be outside the CBD. Yes.
Why don't you expand the city outside, towards Ngata, that side of town?
That is exactly what I'm saying. Yes, like the areas around Njoro, Ngata, those are areas where the land is still virgin, and if you want to do good real estate. I personally come from Bahati.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they privately owned land, or
They are most of them privately owned lands.
Yeah.
Although institutions like the Rift Valley Science Institute and Egerton and there's some Ministry of Agriculture own a big chunk of that land. Yes.
How is the seat where you are right now?
The city is doing very well.
A lot of work for you?
We have, we are looking at, we've just finished what we call the Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 1.
Okay.
We are looking for more funding for Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 2, which we hope will also use that to leverage. We are about to finish the Afra Stadium Phase 1, and we get Phase 2, so that maybe AFCON 2027, we can also be a host of that tournament. Yes.
There is a lot of war about War Memorial Hospital.
That one is a matter in court. We don't want to discuss now.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Let's talk about what we have on the front page of People Daily. Window open for students' loans in private university. At least there is some reprieve now for students who are joining private universities. And around a week, 2 weeks or so ago, there was a lot of uproar from students who are trying to get access to the portal to apply for their courses. Some would say it was frustrating because it crashed. Either there was no response, but now even students will now have that liberty to choose a course in their private universities or even universities of their own choice. Perhaps there's some good news for parents and even students as well.
It's important, but also on the issue of the system failing, we need to realize last year, a time like this, only 5,000 government services would be accessed on the e-citizen platform.
Yes.
Today, we are talking about 13,000 services being applied on the same platform. So Kenyans need to realize it's not about university students accessing this platform. This platform is heavily loaded, so the government needs to also invest in terms of increasing the capacity of this system. So there need to be able to address some of this perennial breakdown of the system. We have seen also M-Pesa having the same problems because the system is struggling. So I believe that is going to be addressed. But as far as the students' loans are concerned, it is good to open. I mean, these students' loans are paid at an interest. So it should not be a preview of public students, public university students alone. If I am able to borrow and pay when I finish my course, then why should I not be given the opportunity, even if I go to a private university?
And of course, Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, withdrew that act, perhaps for fear of discrimination. And I get some court cases that would be discriminatory. I was just taking a look at some of the stories here. Chiloba, you know the gentleman, a man with 9 lives. Mr. Chiloba, please come on my set. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. He was our boss at some point. I see CAK.
We have people like Polycarp Igade also. We have 9 lives in the private sector. So
some will say that where did these face well pray?
It's just an issue of aligning yourself with the right people and the right place.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's cross over and take a look at what you have on the front page of the People Daily. Sexual abuse in school. This is what we have. Effects include poor grades and delinquency. And the story on the front page says that a host of secondary school students are suffering in silence as sex predators, including their classmates and teachers, pounce on them, with their complaints often being ignored even by their own parents. Who will stop this silent epidemic?
It's very, very sad that at this time of age, we are still discussing such issues. But to tell you the truth, as a young parent, these are issues that we are all concerned about. These are issues we worry about. But I also want to call on the leadership of the school management leadership. They need to take some of these matters seriously. We have seen how people with gender-based violence go to police station and they are ignored. We don't want also our students, our pupils, when they come to the school management with such issues, to be ignored. We also want them to give an opportunity for children to be able to share some of the challenges. They may not always be sexual abuse issues, but they may also be issues of abuse at home, emotional abuse, violence at home, that they also are suffering from. So it's important that the school is able to create an opportunity or a platform where children can be able to share and have a conversation. Mental health is a big problem in our society. It's not a reserve of all of the adults. It's also a problem affecting children. So we need to be able to give an infrastructure that can give children the opportunity to be able to share. And
let's make it clear.
Yes.
This applies to both gender.
This, especially right now, one of the challenges we are having, and people are not talking about, is the issue of homosexuality.
Exactly.
And this app is not just from the school management alone, or teachers alone. Even the pupils themselves abuse other pupils. So we need to really to have what we can call a system in place that can be able to help children who are vulnerable to this kind of challenges be able to tell the management, I have this problem, or to tell the parents, I have this problem. You find you go to a boarding school, 7 weeks you're not able to be in touch with your parents until the day you come for midterm. And when you come for midterm, maybe your parents are not even available, so you're not even having chance to talk. It's just a matter of 2 days you're back to school. So are children being given enough time to be able to talk to each other and talk to their parents and also share some of these challenges? We are not sure.
There are some schools where students are allowed 1 weekend to get out.
Yes.
You're allowed to go out.
To breathe out and breathe in.
Yeah, you have freedom. You move out after a week or two.
Yes.
You go and just, relax your mind off school, then come back.
Yes.
So long as you're back in school in the right time.
Yes, yes.
But again, what do you think? Students given that power to speak out, because you realize there's a gap between either parents and pupil, or children and their parents, as well as students or kids and the teachers. There is a very big gap, because rarely do we have nowadays, you'll agree with me, parents are busy, so they say chasing for money. So you'll not have enough time between you to sit down with your parents and your kids to tell them exactly, or even to read their mind, what's going through them. So you leave them, for the world to teach them. And that is why perhaps you are getting to this, because they have nowhere to run to. They have nobody to run to.
If you take, for example, the time of COVID, where parents and children were forced to just spend time together, there was a bit of violence, but also there was an opportunity for parents to understand their children, to understand their household. Today, a lot of parents are back to their bad manners of spending a lot of time watching TV, being on the phone, not having time for their families. So as much as children may be given a break, for example, on a weekend, they will go home, but they'll not spend that time with their parents. Their parents are not there. They're probably watching football, or the mothers are in a chama somewhere. So there's no time for them. They're probably
use another example, not football.
It is a reality.
It's another example.
It's a reality. Because if you take 7 hours of a weekend on football, definitely those are hours that you have spent with your children, and you've not done that. So when you don't do that, then the opportunity to have a conversation with your children has elapsed. You're not going to have it another time. So parents need to be intentional, that if you have a child, you must intentionally create time for them. Whether other things are important or not, your child comes first. Because at the end of your retirement, or when you finish all this that is making you very busy, it is that child that will be very important. If you find parents who are in their 60s and 70s, the biggest headache they're having today is their children. Recently, I had a medical procedure with my eye, and a parent came there and she was told, you're having an eye problem because of stress. So she was wondering, where is my stress coming from? And I was asking her, do you have children? And I realized the stress she's having is because of the challenges she's having with her children. Yet she was not aware that those are things that are unconsciously disturbing her. So we as parents need to invest in these children so that our old age can be as peaceful as much as possible.
Do I really have anything to add at that point?
No.
Nothing to add. Okay, let's cross over to politics. You've seen these two gentlemen.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. And there you have it. We have got battle for ODM Soul, Joho versus Oparanya. We have got two factions here. Apparently, Joho met some of his friends, quote unquote. We have got Joho camp. On this other side, we also have Oparanya camp. Let me just do that. Very good. Let me have Joho camp. Start with Oparanya camp. On Oparanya side, we have Senator Sifuna. We have got Senator Oburu Oginga. We have got Topio Wandai, Timothy Bosire, Simbarati, and Elsie Muhanda. Okay? And on the other side of Joho, we have Junet, John Mbadi, Babawino, Ledama Senator, Stewart Mazayo, as well as Fatuma Masito. So, young versus old, so to speak, in terms of there. So there is a face-off. The battle to succeed ODM Chief Raila Odinga is on, with two factions beginning to emerge. One is allied to former Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, while the other one is also allied to former Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. All these are former governors. And Mr. Joho yesterday hit the road running, holding talks with some ODM members in his camp as he made preparations to launch his nationwide campaigns. Interesting times ahead. Christmas.
Well, we need to understand, what is ODM? What is the fabric that defines ODM? ODM is defined by Raila Amolo Odinga. He's never been a career civil servant as Oparanya might be. So Joho, Oparanya, former governors. But Oparanya comes with a lot of experience in terms of public service. But he doesn't have the money as much as we may say Joho has. So the challenge is understanding what does ODM want. And we must understand what is ODM. ODM is an opposition party. It needs a vibrant young leadership that can take it for the next 20, 30 years without Raila Amolo Odinga. Because as much as he may go to the AU, even if he doesn't go to the AU, he will have to retire probably in the next 5 or 10 years. So what kind of leadership will take ODM to the next 20 or 30 years without breaking it? I see myself, Joho, being the person who might take this seat because ODM has been kept alive by the strong support it has from Joho and the Coast region and Nyanza region. Coast and Nyanza region kind of work together very well, and I feel like Joho might be able to take this seat.
These two gentlemen have positions in ODM.
They are both deputy leaders?
Yes.
Yes.
And so you would imagine both deputy party leaders deputizing Raila Odinga,
yes,
who is going for the big job, so they say.
Yes.
And the seat perhaps is going to remains quote-unquote vacant,
yes,
with Raila's exit, not exit per se, but he's now focused to AU job.
Yes.
So now have these two gentlemen. Let's fast forward to 1 year to 2024 election.
Yes.
27 election.
27 election.
With these two people. Imagine this appeared on the front page sometimes in 2027.
I find myself inclined to supporting Joho in terms of the kind of vibrance that ODM will require. We know the party, how it is. We know the kind of things ODM has been able to move from the year 2005 when they held the first referendum of banana versus orange and gave birth to the ODM party. That kind of vibrance is only found in people like Joho, who have aligned themselves with Bobby Owino, the senator of Narok. Those are the kind of vibrant leaders can be able to take ODM to the next level. It can be able to grow it. But on the other side, I see people who can easily be swayed back to government because they are more of public service career people who are inclined of, leaning to the government side or listening to the government side. The other side is hell-bent on opposing, no matter the issue. Whether the government is right or not, they are able to oppose, and they oppose without flinching an eye. So I see Joho being the person who will probably lead that party come 2027.
Okay. This gentleman also have a very long-standing career. He's also been in government, in a ministry before, in the past regime.
Yes,
Kibaki's
he worked with Kibaki.
Exactly.
But you've seen, Kenyans are not ready to work with people just because they have a lot of experience in public service. Kenyans elect noise. The more noise you make, the more violence you bring, the better for you.
So which is the most noisiest faction here?
The Joho side.
We'll come back to this later on. Let's take a look at what we have on the front page of The Standard.
Yes.
Very quickly, The Standard says that staring at a disaster. This is what we have. Doctors are going on strike. If the demands are not met, Ministry of Health officials are hesitant to post interns who make up almost 30% of the workforce. As the calls for dialogue grow louder, Kenyans will yet again bear the brunt of the strike. That is the story here. They gave their 7-day notice, and then what the CS, Dr. Nakumicha, said is CS Susan said that they don't have money yet to do that, but the doctors are also hell-bent for that. They wants almost interns to be employed across the country, 1,000 of them, and to be paid. I don't know what you're doing in Nakuru County specifically. Let me just take it back home. What's happening? Do you have enough doctors in in Nakuru?
Generally, across the country, including Nakuru, we don't have enough doctors, and especially specialized doctors who can be able to address some of the chronic issues. So as a country and as a counties, we're having this challenge. And you know the health function is now heavily relied upon by county governments.
Yes.
So therefore, the challenges of health sector are shared across both the national government and the county governments. But we also have a challenge. We have we are having a threat where a lot of our health workers, including doctors, are leaving the country for greener pastures in Western countries, in the Middle East. If we don't address the issue of increasing our ability to produce more doctors, we'll still have this challenge, even when we pay them enough. In India, they have a lot of doctors, many of them, who pricing is as low as 500 shillings for consulting fee, because they have plenty of doctors they produce every year. So we need to produce a lot of them so that the issue of supply and demand can come into play. But we'll not fix this by paying people a lot of money, because they are few, they'll continue demanding more, and will not be able to meet their needs. But if you produce as many doctors as possible, as many health workers, every person will just walk into an office and will find a doctor. Today, if you want a lawyer, they're in every corner. There's always a law firm somewhere.
Yes.
And therefore, you find nowadays legal services are easily accessed as opposed to engineers and doctors. So we need to produce quality doctors, quality health workers, many of them, so that at any corner you go to, you find a qualified health worker to provide you service. And you'll find these costs coming down.
I get it. All right. U.S. evacuates staff as violent takes toll on Haiti capital and residents.
I'm really, I mean, I have followed the Haiti story since
it's so painful.
The president
and now
was
killed. They say they actually have lifted non-essential embassy staff from Haiti.
Yes.
And as the country spirals further into gang violence, the Americans have also boosted security at their mission in the capital, that is Port-au-Prince. So, but then, we all know what's happening back home.
Well, for me, Haiti is a independent country in the Caribbean. It got its independence 200 years ago, but since then they have never enjoyed the fruits of their independence.
Yes.
And this is clearly to demonstrate how the Western world has never wanted a stable African state to prosper. 200 years ago, Haiti was among the richest country because it used to produce sugar. Sugar was
how many years ago?
200 years ago. Sugar was the highest selling commodity in the world. If you were producing sugar, you are the richest country. The way we have crude oil today in Saudi Arabia, that was how sugar was important then. Today, Haiti is the poorest country. It does not have anything. It's because the Western world has worked so much to destroy that country.
Do me a favor, because you have the Star newspaper there, please just carry for me the front page.
Yes.
To the camera.
Yes.
That is what you have on the front page of the Star. If you have there, today I've given you an assignment. That is on the front page, and that is a gang. That is really what's happening on the front page. Haiti, that is a gang, marauding gangs, the violent protests in Haiti. And the Prime Minister was here a fortnight ago again to see the deal with President William Ruto.
And he's not been able to go back to his country. He tried to fly back yesterday. He was forced to go back to Puerto Rico. He cannot be able to land into Haiti at the moment because the gangs have taken over the streets. The airport, yes, it is closed. The ports are closed, but they cannot access their country. I know of many Kenyans who are supposed to go to prepare for the arrival of the Kenyan police forces there. They are stuck in America. So we have a problem in this country that is beyond the imagination of anybody. We already have Gaza as a problem, but this is the worst that the humanity can face.
Christmas, from the U.S. to Haiti, it's like a stone throw. It's like from here to where you are.
Yes.
Compared to from where we are here in Kenya to Haiti.
Yes.
Hours of traveling and layovers and etc., etc. I mean, why Kenya of all the nations, and why Kenya police of all the nations, of all the forces under the sun? I mean,
it's quite unfortunate that for the first time the Western world has been able to fail as the policeman of the world. And now they are relying upon a small country like Kenya to try and police something that they created themselves. Around 1920s, the US tried to colonize Haiti. And from that time, Haiti has never been anything as a good country. It has been ruled by dictators. They have destroyed that country. America has tried to impose
How many presidents have they assassinated?
They have assassinated so many. They have tried to impose their own leadership, and nothing has come out of it. And unfortunately, natural disasters have also followed Haiti. We had the earthquake, we had the tsunami the other day. All these are challenges that the country has faced. But since then, nobody has been able to try and deal with these issues decisively to be able to address the challenges of Haiti. Is it because they are black? And maybe that's why the African countries like Kenya felt that we need to clean this black stain of every black country in the world having challenges. Probably we have an opportunity as a country to demonstrate our capacity, but do we have the money? Do we have the resources? Do we have the understanding of the infrastructure in Haiti? These people are French speaking. How many of our police force speak French? Do we understand the DNA of the gangs? Do you understand why it is gangs, not tribal? Like we have challenges here. You know, in Kenya or Africa, it's a tribal issue. But there, they speak the same language. They are the same people. But now it's about gangs. Who are behind these gangs? Who is financing them? What are they after? We don't understand. We don't have the intelligence on the ground to be able to really understand these people. And unfortunately, yes, we will send these people if government is determined to do that. But how many of them will survive the challenges of Haiti?
Linda Inchi started with President Mwai Kibaki. It started by when only two in the coastal time in Mombasa.
Yes.
And that is how Operation Linda Inchi started.
Yes, and we've been there for the last 13 years.
Exactly.
Yes, and even if we left today, we will not have we have not improved the lives of the Somali. We still have the Somali force having challenges up to today. If they leave them 1 minute, they are attacked by Al-Shabaab.
What do you think is the real problem with Haiti?
Haiti, just like Somalia, they are vested interest beyond the people, the Haitians themselves. There are forces out to take advantage of that civil failure in that failing state. There are some interest beyond what we see that are making money or having economic or political interests beyond what we see as ordinary citizens of the world. Just like Somalia. Why has Somalia never had peace? 32 years after they first had this challenge, 33 years later. How come? Because there are interests beyond. Yet there are a lot of resources that are put into Haiti. There are a lot of resources put in Somalia. But those resources have no impact because the challenges you're facing are beyond the money you put there. They are things that are about political interests of the Western world. What those interests are, when we understand them, when we stop being pawns in the game of chess by the Western world, then we'll be able to address those issues. But before we do that, we'll have big problems. You've seen how in the Sahel region, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, when they came together, the French were able to be repulsed and pushed away. There's some source of stability. They're able to maximize on the wealth they have as a country. So even Haiti and Somalia, they must be having something that this Western world want. And they can only get it when there is a failed state. The day the people of Haiti will wake up and realize it's not about them, it's about us. We need to focus on our peace, our law and order. Then Haiti will be a successful country.
Do you really think Kenya as a country can go back to where we were in 2007, 2008? Do you think we can go back there?
I mean, just a year ago, we were heading in that direction because of our loose and careless talk.
Exactly.
Yes, we are not very far.
But we are afraid we learned our lesson.
The only challenge, the only great thing that Kenya has, we are surrounded by stable countries that speak to our sense. Uganda cannot allow us to fail. You understand? Tanzania cannot allow us to fail.
Because they know what they get.
Yes, we have responsible neighbors who really look after us. If you go to Haiti, Dominican Republic does not care about Cuba and Haiti because they they're not being responsible neighbors. For us, we are very lucky. We have neighbors who care about us. They will not allow us to fail. Not just because they gained, because even us, when they failed, we were there for them.
Yes. What do you have on the front page of the Star newspaper?
The
Again.
Star is Ketraco to pay 9 billion for failed deal. This is in relation to the power transmission for the Lake Turkana power transmission. I think this matter is something that we really need to be very careful as a country. Some of these managers we put in state parastatals, if they have no capacity to enter into contracts on behalf of government, they should not be in that office. This issue of Ketraco, Kenya Power, the Ministry of Energy having to pay large sums of money because of failures.
9 billion.
9 billion. The whole figure was 18 billion.
Yes.
So they already have paid half. So this is the other half. And it's just because a company that was awarded that work could not deliver it on time. And the government failed to do its due diligence in terms of confirming if this company has capacity to deliver. We fall into the trap of giving contracts to international companies because we think they are qualified.
Yes.
Because they come with a white man's face. Yet they had no capacity to deliver. They were given this work. They were designed to fail.
Right.
And the project was designed to fail in the way that it will, the Kenyan consumer will pay heavily. Today, we have to pay another 9 billion. If we fail to, we'll go into the same problem. You've seen KBC being told to pay 5 billion because of a failed contract. Contractual obligations are very serious, and we cannot afford to not to oblige.
How has it affected power supply? Starting with the Turkana, coming down to distribution of power, national grid.
You see, last time we had the power blackouts last year. One of the reasons we had was because of the challenge of the Lake Turkana power line having challenges. I don't know if this is the reason why those outages were there, but I don't want to believe that there were any system-related failures relating to the money. This company is entitled to be paid because it has a contractual obligation, but it also has a responsibility to make sure that it is able to provide us power as required. And where that power is not available, we have the independent power producers who are supposed to help in stabilizing the grid. So these failures of these challenges of power have nothing to do with this bill. The only challenges we have right now is that the cost of power is very high. And this might be the reason as to why we are paying huge power bills.
9 billion.
9 billion will affect everybody. If you look at your power bill probably early last year, it has gone up maybe 30–40% as compared to what you're paying today. That is the implication.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, let's cross over and see what's happening on the front page of the France 24. Very quickly, there's we have at Nolan's Oppenheimer. Did I get it right? Wins Best Picture.
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer wins Best Picture at the Oscars. This is more of entertainment.
Yes.
Okay. Oppenheimer, a solemn 3-hour biopic that became an unlikely billion-dollar box office sensation, was crowned Best Picture at a 96th Academy Awards that doubled as a coronation for Christopher Nolan. There is more of entertainment. Okay, let's come here and see what's happening nyumbani in Africa. In Africa, okay, let me just do that. Okay, in Africa, these Chad's junta-appointed Prime Minister Success Masra announces presidential bid. Again, Chad are headed there. Ex-President Gbagbo to run in 2025 elections. This is interesting. Remember, Gbagbo was ousted, and actually the wife was also taken to prison. He was also taken. I mean, there was a lot of, Laurent Gbagbo, and this in Ivory Coast. So the story says that former Ivorian President Laurent Gbagbo agreed on Saturday to lead the party he founded into the 2025 presidential elections, according to spokesman Katinan, who told Reuters that following a meeting of the party's Central Committee, Gbagbo, president of the West Africa country from 2011, launched his African People's Party in Cote d'Ivoire in 2021, following his acquittal on war crimes charges by the International Criminal Court and returned from a decade abroad. He went in exile. I mean, we all know what happened, how he was hounded from his hiding space with the soldiers and all that. And he's back. I mean, this is interesting.
But as Africa, I think we need to ask ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, you've seen Ivory Coast, it has had its own challenges. DRC has its own challenges. The Sahel region has its own challenges. But importantly, you need to realize all these regions are endowed with a lot of natural resources.
Yes.
The same kind of resources we find in the Middle East, where we don't have any democracy at all, but in terms of economic prosperity, they are doing much better than us. So the question is this Western-style democracy really our thing? Is it what we really need as an African continent to take us to the next level? Is this democracy just something created to make us get confused and consumed and forget that our wealth every day is being taken away at no value to us? So we, as Africans, as we go into some of these elections, we need to really understand that the kind of leaders we are electing, are they for us or are they for the Western world? This is a man who was taken to the ICC. And now it is the same Western world that has dropped those charges.
Yes.
And now they are allowing him to come and lead. Probably it's just another proxy for them. So he may not be just there to make Ivory Coast a better, prosperous country. He might just be there to entrench a certain economic interest.
I mean, look at it this way. I mean, let's just face it. Imagine Laurent Gbagbo coming back to lead, I mean, the country.
Yes.
After, you know, I mean, Africa, where did you go wrong? Where did you go wrong?
We have serious.
He led the country for 11 good years.
Yes.
And now he's coming back.
And he's going to come there and may even change the law and say we don't need election, I mean, presidential terms. We have our own members in the region who have no terms. We have seen Salva Kiir, he has overstayed. So, Laurent Gbagbo might be there for another 10, 20 years.
Someone else. Someone else. You don't need to mention his name.
Yes.
Let's come over. I'll come back there later on. Okay, so again, as always, we have all this. As always, take a look at what we have on the KBC app. Please go there. Downloading that app. Okay, just go to your Google Play Store. If you are an iPhone person, you can also go to Google Play, you download the KBC app and get everything on the go. That is where we have it when it happens, everything laid out there for you. And now what is trending, real time. Kenya, Korea synergy boost economy with the launch of Economic Innovation Partnership Program at Konza. An amazing story that you don't need to miss. Again, Rigiji, the Deputy President, said that he's going to represent DP Gachagua to meet avocado farmers representatives on Tuesday to see what's happening. And he says that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, will meet representatives of avocado farmers on Tuesday for a comprehensive engagement on issues affecting the subsector. Remember last week, but one, there was some protest from some members of parliament from
Katanga and
yes, who said no, the laws that they passed in parliament is now coming to bite because care officials were there to sensitize them to do the e-teams, and to do the tax on avocado. And they said, wait a minute, this is not what we agreed on. So perhaps, is it to calm down the waters?
I think the whole process of increasing the tax payer base is a very important conversation. Yes. We have tried for many years, since Kibaki times. We have always said it's only a few Kenyans who pay tax. It's only a few Kenyans who carry the heavy burden. We need to increase that space. And how we do it is what really is important, that we are able to have a constructing engagement with ordinary Kenyans who are not paying taxes, to understand the responsibility they have also in carrying the tax obligation burden. But we need to be we don't need to send young KRA officials as the first line of engagement with farmers. We need to have the leadership of KRA, the leadership of government, to be the people, the members of parliament, to be the first people to really understand why is it that the avocado farmer must pay 5% of his earnings to KRA? You need to really explain that to them, so that also those people can be able to engage the farmers and be able to win the mind and hearts of the farmers to understand. It's not a bad thing for them to pay, if they can be given the sense as to what they are paying for. And then they can also say, if I pay this 5%, then what do I expect in return? Do I need to go to my health center there and get free medical care? Will my children get free education without other costs being put on me by the head teachers? Will my road be done? Will my electricity bill come down? Those are conversations Kenyans also need to have with these people, because as much as we are paying taxes, then we also get something in return. In some of this developed world, they don't question taxes because they see on the other side the benefits of paying taxes. Whereas here, we are paying a lot of taxes. But on the other side, we are now being told about changing laws to create public offices for people. We are being told to create additional MPs to make the that gender rule work. But it comes with a cost to the common man. But when I pay my taxes, the first thing I want to see, the first line of vote in terms of expenses, should be bringing my cost of living low. I go to a hospital, I don't pay. I get quality services. I don't want to see doctors striking all the time. I don't want to see teachers complaining. I don't want to hear that JSS teachers are not there.
But Christmas, Christmas, look at it this way. That's too academic. But that farmer in Kandara, that mzee who started doing avocado farming from 1981. He has never. Doesn't really understand the jargon you're telling me.
It is true.
You've gone textbook now.
It is, but that's what I'm saying. If you talk to the politicians, if you talk to the leadership, they probably may have a language that can make these people understand. But sending KRA first to them was not the right thing.
Okay, this is what you have. So, all right, and this is where we have it again. Mudavadi, again, another thing to represent us. All this is coming for you, by the way, on the front page. This is KBC app. We're having real time. Everything is updated here, led by our digital team. Asante sana. And Mudavadi is going to represent President Ruto at the Danish Africa Summit. You can take a look at that story. That is Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Musale Mudavadi is expected in
But I also want to ask,
on Monday.
I want to ask Kenyans and the Kenyan government. We've seen a lot of these Western countries, Asian countries, having something Africa Summit. When will Kenya have its Kenya-Africa Summit? So that we can talk about entrenching the Africa trade agreements. When will Kenya host its own African version of summit? We bring African leaders here ourselves and we have a conversation. We create opportunities for our business, for our products, for our young workers within Africa, where we will not suffer from discrimination, where even if I go and work, I'll be treated as an equal. So we need to take follow what these Europeans are doing, because there's something big in Africa. And we as Kenyans, as we are looking for the AU position, we should also see something big in Africa ourselves and take advantage.
Christmas, this is a breakfast show. Please, I just need to serve you tea. You cannot come to my set and I don't serve you tea.
Thank you.
I'll be so unfair to you.
Thank you.
I'll have to serve you tea. Okay, let's take a break. When you come back, we're still going to continue the discussion. An amazing man. We are taking almost 360 degrees of what you should expect. But the most important one I want to take a look is that battle in ODM today. How is it going to play out now that Raila Odinga is now focusing on his AU job? We have got Oparanya here versus Joho there. Let's take a look at that and much more when I come back after this break. Meanwhile, please, upload this one, KBC app. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I want to serve you tea. Stay with us. Luciende Bali.
This is a very exciting moment, not just for Naivasha, not just for the county of Nakuru, but also for Kenya.
Okay, ready? Ready.
This thing is crazy. I mean, the sheer speed, you can hardly see the road. These guys are really professional. It's really something out of this world. Ask me whether I want to do this again? I'm not sure.
Then your IQ is not functioning.
Sitagi sina na sitagi. Open your eyes.
Kizungu yake ni ya kuongea kwa mdomo. Hana haifiki kwa mfuko yake.
Na silisikia kwambia atakupeleka Ndubai.
Labda nipeleke hapa Isili.
You look very smart.
Hapana, hii imesonewa hapo Katonzweni, hapo tu sokoni.
Hii ni yako.
Umenipatia tu.
Hiyo ufanya nayo ile kitu wewe unataka.
It is rumbling you.
Okay. So are we okay now? Crispus?
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you. Yeah,
very good.
Meisha.
I also have my cup of
KBC
coffee here.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are giving a cup, a merchandise, for that person who will tell me. You tweet and tell us where you're watching us from and send a picture of Crispus or I. Okay? Crispus or I just post on our social media. Hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. And I have this beautiful cup and other merchandise that I'm giving away. Okay? I'm giving away. It's a beautiful cup written KBC, Kenya, your national broadcaster, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. All right. So let's continue the discussion. That's where we have it. Sawa. The question we have here is for the gentleman, this one. Let's talk about this. Question number one, how is it going to affect the stability of ODM as a party? Let's not talk about Azimio, but how is it going to affect the stability of ODM, either to strengthen it or to weakening the party?
One thing I want to believe, as much as Raila will be at the AU, his influence within the party will still remain.
Yes.
So he will still be the godfather of the ODM. So therefore, this party breaking is not something we should be worried about. What we may find is people probably feeling that they have been betrayed, their interests have not been taken care of within the new party structures, and they may leave and go to join other parties. But in terms of this party remaining united, I see it remaining united. I see ODM fronting a presidential candidate come 2027. That presidential candidate might be one of these two gentlemen, deputized by somebody who is not in that, who probably on the smaller framed pictures. I see young leaders like Babu Owino,
yes,
taking a more prominent position within the party. Simba Arati, such leaders Junet might take a prominent position within the party, and therefore the party will have a new face. We move away from being a Luo Nyanza party to a more vibrant in terms of the reach for the country, where we are both from the coast to the west, the party is covered. The challenges might be within Nairobi, where if we don't find Raila taking a prominent position, who then will lead the party within Nairobi? And that's why you find somebody like Babu Owino will come into play in terms of positioning the party within the city and giving it the strength and stability it requires to be a party that can check the government both at the city and at the coast and in the other western part of the country. So Oparanya is a good presidential candidate, but does he have the financial muscle to push a presidential campaign? That is the question. Joho, very young, very vibrant. He has the money. He has the connections. He has the support of the party leader. You remember, Joho has been one of the biggest supporters of ODM since, I think, 15 or 20 years ago. So therefore, we expect Joho to be a very prominent person within the ODM party in terms of financing, mobilizing resources, and also leading the party. So this party is a party we need to really be watch out for, because this is a party that will be in the next general election.
Yes.
It's not like Jubilee, TNA, URP that have all disappeared. We may not find UDA in 2027, but we will definitely find ODM.
Question is, we've seen Oparanya, former governor, sticking with Raila. He's stuck with Raila all through, even after being the governor. They've been with Raila Odinga almost in every step during mobilization and now party nomination exercise and now recruitment. He's been with Raila Odinga. Joho, after 2022 election, somehow
took a break.
He took a break. And now all of a sudden he's now back. And he's now coming back with this. When you have these two gentlemen, and all of them are deputy party leaders of ODM, I mean, what do you see? In politics, they say there's nothing quite accidental.
Well, for Oparanya, it was very important for him to stick with the party leader all along. Because after being governor, what else was Oparanya going to do? Other than position himself to be the next party leader or the running mate for Raila when it comes to 2027. But Joho kind of lost traction in understanding what do I do after being governor? I mean, I have this coast support in the coastal region. I have all these resources. Then what do I do? But being a businessman, definitely he had to reorganize himself and understand what comes first. Is it business or is it politics? So I believe whatever he was doing during that break is to stabilize his base. Whether it's the political base or the financial base, he probably has done that. And now he's ready to pursue his political interests. Where those interests will take him, there's an opening right now with the AU probably confirming Raila as the chairman. There will be a gap. Whether Raila will like it or not, there will definitely be a gap. Whether he wants to say, I'm still around, I'll be having breakfast in Addis Ababa and lunch in Nairobi, there will definitely be a break. There will definitely be a gap. And that gap has to be filled by somebody. Somebody who wakes up in the morning and says, government, you have failed. Government, you've not done this. Who will be that voice? Who will be heard? Who will be the person Kenyans will listen to? I see myself listening to Joho because he's a person who very well we know can move masses, can move forces.
On our magic wall there, you have Joho, you have got Oparanya there. And then, you know, with his experience in public service, with his experience in ODM, he stayed the party. He stayed too loyal to the party and with Raila Odinga. They're very good friends, so to speak. And now you bring in Joho. And the two factions, you have Junet, again, after election, also disappeared. And is also back. We also know the Junet and Joho factor combined, where that might incline to, which vote they're trying to. And now you also bring this other side, supporting Oparanya. When you have these two factions distributed across the country, let's start with Sifuna. Sifuna represents Nairobi. Very vibrant. Oburu Oginga is also the other side of Nyanza. When you talk of Opiyo Wandayi, a position in parliament, again Nyanza, Busire also in Nyanza, Kisii, to be precise, Simbarati also Kisii, to be precise, and then we have Elsie Mohanda from Western Kenya. Then we come to this side. We also have these two gentlemen, all from Suba, we have from Migori, Babu from Nairobi, Ledama from Narok County representing the Ma community. We have Mazayo from the coastal region, and finally Fatuma also from the coastal region. But then now, look at the national face of ODM represented here. The question has been, who is going to take after Raila Odinga after his exit? I know you've asked that question a lot, and many people have been asking that question a lot.
Yeah.
Can you see that question being answered here?
I see this question being answered here in two ways. Number one, if you look at the side of Oparanya,
yes,
which has Edwin Sifuna, which has the minority leader, which has Oburu Oginga, which has Simba Arati.
Yes.
I'm looking at somebody who's trying to entrench the old ODM stronghold, which has been Western Kenya, Gusiland, and Luo Nyanza. But the question is, are these people going to cure, for example, the Luya unity that has always been elusive? Mudavadi, Boni Halwale, Wetangula, even them themselves, they have not been able to bring the Luyas together. So will Aparanya be the person who will bring that Luya unity?
Good question.
For Oginga Odinga, he represents Raila Amolo Odinga. Meaning when he speaks, it's Raila who speaks. So Luo Nyanza will have no reason to worry that their interests are not...
Raila wind still,
there is a Raila wind.
After his exit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Simba Arati and Timothy Bosiri definitely will go to entrench the strong ODM ties within Gusiland.
Very good.
So means that the ODM as is today is protected. But Sifuna is supposed to be the person who brings or secures the Nairobi vote.
As a secgen of the party.
And the person in Nairobi is our point person in Nairobi. But is this the kind of person that we expect to move numbers within Nairobi?
Perhaps somebody would expect it to have Sifuna on the other side of Jomo.
Exactly. You understand?
Yes.
But Sifuna and Bobby Owino are two competing forces. Sifuna wants the same position as Bobby Owino may want. So they cannot have a conversation. They cannot be seen to be working together. Now you go to the other side, you look at Junaid. Probably he's looking at himself. I may not be safe in the Luyo Nyanza, but if I now start marshalling my northeastern roots, bringing them to ODM, I might find my relevance within the ODM structure. The Babu Owino, as we say, this is their man in Nairobi. This is the man who will make sure ODM will control the city. If you want to be president, it is good that you control the city.
Yeah.
Today's the biggest challenge UDA has is that they don't have the votes. They don't have the numbers in the city. Even you can see Sakaja has to be very careful in how he manages the county assembly because he does not have the numbers across the divide. When you look at Ladema, I mean, this is a very vibrant ODM leader who has been vocal, who has stood with the party extreme positions whenever they are required to. If you look at the guy in the senator of Kilifi, is also a very strong leader in the coastal region who is there to make sure that as much as Joho has taken a national position, the coastal region is secure for the ODM party. So those are the kind of leaders I'm looking at, going to make sure that northeastern, coastal region, and Nairobi is able to support ODM at any one time.
Yeah.
So they are looking at voting blocks. So Mombasa, I mean, coastal region, how many votes does it have? Nairobi, northeastern, as compared to the other side of Oparanya. So Oparanya has the numbers in terms of bringing the numbers.
From
Western, from Kisii, and from Luo Nyanza. But Joho may not have the numbers, but he may have the resources.
Who or what does Oparanya represent?
Oparanya
nationally
represents, for me, it represents a progressive, not very hard bent leader.
Yes.
who can be very good in terms of working with the administration of the day. Whether he's in opposition, he can work with the government very well. Whether he's in government, he can listen to the opposition very easily. But for the Joho side, these are people who take extreme positions. If we say we are not bending, we are not bending. So I see, if, for example, it's Kenya Kwanza that wins 2027, they can easily work with a Oparanya-led ODM as opposed to a Joho-led ODM.
Let me ask another question. Do you see something when you have these two photos here? Where is that? There you go. What does this really, this picture bring? Do you see Uhuru Kenyatta here? Do you see William Ruto back then as a duo?
Definitely.
In terms of personality comparison?
Well, you see, Uhuru Kenyatta...
One was agile and another one was a bit...
Yes, Uhuru Kenyatta may represent Oparanya and Joho may represent Ruto.
That's what I wanted.
That is what we can easily compare.
Yes.
This is probably TNA, URP.
Yes.
So ODM Western and ODM Coast is what we are looking at.
So the one who is going to carry the elephant's head is this gentleman?
Going by the kind of politics that we have become accustomed to, Joho might easily take it. But unless somebody will say Oparanya Tosha, the way Michuki said, if you want to speak to the mountain, you must speak to Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
If we have somebody who will say Oparanya Tosha and others follow, we may have a chance for Oparanya.
The same thing happened in UDA.
Yes.
Didi Nyoro and Rigiji, around a month or so ago, they had some in-house issues to settle.
Well, I think for Didi and Rigiji, the mountain needs to take stock of its performance.
Yes.
The mountain leadership has really not delivered the promise. If we are still discussing avocado and illicit brew now, if we are being facing challenges as Mount Kenya leaders in terms of doing what we promised our people, then we still don't have that authority to come and say, now I want to be the deputy president of 2032 or 2027. The mountain leadership has failed its people.
Okay. Crispus, give me a picture. 2027, how is it going to be? I mean, let's not be, we cannot talk about that. A day in politics, you understand, is a very long time. It's like a million years.
Yeah.
As it is, what can you see?
Well, I probably, if Joho would run for president, and we have a new office created of the Prime Minister under this NADCO arrangement, Oparanya would make a very good Prime Minister. And that would be a very good ticket for ODM. That was a ticket that can really challenge Kenya Kwanza as it is today. Because Oparanya, you see right now, Kenya Kwanza won with a margin of around 230,000 votes.
Yeah.
That is probably Bungoma vote only. So if Oparanya can just bring that back to ODM and Azimio.
I see what you're trying to say. That's a question that you don't answer. Even neither have I answered that question. An election cannot be an election, and nobody can go to the ballot without these two, without this body.
Yes.
We've had this back and forth for a very long time now. So Banisa constituency decry lack of representation amid IBC recruitment stalemate. We have that happening on that also being there on the magic wall. All this we are getting on the KBC app. The prolonged crisis at the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IBC, is taking a heavy toll on the country's democratic process. Of course, Banisa is really for
suffering
a year now. Ever since last year, they've not had a member of parliament. As such, not only have the electorate in Banisa constituency gone without representation in the National Assembly for close to a year now, but the 12-year constitutional deadline to review boundaries and therein the probability of adding more constituencies is also just weeks away before end month. We have got a deadline. We have got Banisa. We have got other wards across the country. Just last week, Keroka and Kisii had their fair share of clashes because of the boundaries dispute. What are we seeing here? We also know NADCO report in the parliament for debate. President had that report last week, as well as Raila Odinga also received the report. So what do we see? Are we going to see some light at the end of the tunnel for this?
First of all, I think it's very unfortunate that up to this time, we still have not been able to establish a mechanism that where we have a seamless transition from one leadership of IEBC to another without this kind of gaps. We knew very well Chebukati and his team will leave at some point.
Yes.
When we saw the other four commissioners leave, definitely they should have told us that something is not, there will be a gap somewhere. It's quite unfortunate that this gap has really come at an expense to the people of Banisa and even Kenya at large, because when you don't have that IEBC commission in place to be able to prepare for the next general election, we fear that we'll have the same challenges we have always had of where the outcome of election is not always clear because the systematic failures that we have in terms of coming up with commissioners, having a secretariat that is working very well, having the resources mobilized on time to make sure that we have a fair and transparent general election. So to have this kind of gaps, for me as a citizen who wakes up to vote, it's quite unfortunate. But the issues of electoral boundaries, if we are going to be changing boundaries every 10 years or every 12 years, and we have seen how our populations are growing, I see a situation where we may end up with so many members of parliament every time we keep changing boundaries because of the way the constitution has defined what a constituency or a ward ought to be. So therefore, I think we need to have a conversation where the boundaries of a constituency may not necessarily be defined based on population or certain parameters, but we just accept that there are some constituencies which will be very large, yet will have one representative. I know of a constituency, is it in India, where one MP has 3 million voters. And in India, there are 500 MPs and there are 1 billion people. So
India
we may need to...
huge. Those guys have an election for like a month or
yes, so we also need to realize when we'll be a country of 100 million, are we going to have 1,000 MPs? Even the ones we have 349 today, when they never appear in parliament, only 50 appear. Only if you look at your KBC live broadcast for parliament, the people who participate actively in parliament are less than 20%. So we get representation from 60 MPs as compared to 349 we elect.
What, in your perception, do you think the NADCO report is going to solve the IEBC crisis once and for all, perhaps at this particular point?
We cannot cure our bad manners with new laws all the time. As a country, we just need to get discipline. We must accept every 5 years we must have an election. And that election process must be divorced from political parties. If we had this conversation last year, the biggest political party was Jubilee and NASA.
Yes.
Today that conversation is about Kenya Kwanza and Azimio. In 2027, 2028, probably will not have Kenya Kwanza, will not have Azimio. We'll have other political interests. So is the formation of IEBC a reserve of a few political parties of the day or a reserve of the Kenyan people? So therefore, we need to have a system where IEBC and the nomination of IEBC commissioners has nothing to do with political parties. It has to do with Kenyans and Kenyans themselves. So we need to make sure that there is a system in place that is divorced completely with political parties. Because right now the challenge we're having in the IEBC is because one part of the political divide has said don't form the people who don't have the panel to elect to nominate commissioners because we don't feel like we are represented. But the day they'll become a minority, what will happen?
Yes.
So we need to find a system where it's not about coming up with new laws all the time that favor one political formation, but coming up with systems that are able to protect the interests of every Kenyan, however small or big they are. Yes.
I'm looking at a situation where when you listen to the kind of situation, sorry, let me come back here, the issue of IEBC, When you have Banisa and other constituencies not represented,
yes,
what legal implication does that really have to the people of these constituencies not represented? Banisa, like a clear example, for close to a year.
Yes.
What will happen to them thereafter? Because we've had so many laws passed in Parliament. We've had so many representations. They have not been represented. Their voice is not beamed in Parliament for close to a year. So what will happen to them? Will they go back to the beginning and start demanding for their rights? CDF was here, bursaries were disbursed. I don't know if that really happened in Banisa. So what will happen? Can they go to court and demand for such services to be given to them even after an election? Or can Banisa, constitutionally, I know that's not there, but can Banisa say, because we did not have a representation for close to a year, during the first 5 years of this reign, this regime, so we need an extension of 1 more year after election of 2027 for us to be represented without any election. Can that happen?
For example, the NGCDF, it's not managed by the Member of Parliament.
Yes.
We have the NGCDF committee, which runs or manages the fund. The Member of Parliament is a patron, but also is required to provide oversight over it, so that to make sure that the people he represents are provided with the funding that is there is equitable share of that funding when it comes to distribution.
Yes.
In terms of what his constituency or her constituency gets, the CDF Act has a mechanism to make sure that every constituency gets his money. So the MP has nowhere he signs any check or approves any payment.
Yes.
Him is a patron and is supposed to provide oversight. The committee, if there was a committee in place at Banisa, it should be able to perform its duty. But now the only challenge, it may not have the oversight that is required.
Yes.
So that might be the challenge with NGCDF.
Yes.
When it comes to representation, definitely the people of Banisa are lacking representation. That one is very clear. But they have somebody called a women rep who represent the entire county. And I don't think that women rep is only confined to representing women issues. She should be able to stand in on behalf of the people of Banisa in Parliament, because she's already in Parliament.
Exactly.
She should be the voice that is, the gap that is there right now, she should fill it in and say, the people of Banisa require the full. Nobody is stopping her from saying, my people.
Yes.
Because she represents them. Whether she's a county women rep or she's the MP of Banisa, she represents the people of Banisa. She sits in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
So in terms of the in the national, they don't have a gap unless she has failed to understand her role. When you go to the issues of legislation, okay, that voice also can be filled by that person. In terms of public participation and the role the Member of Parliament does in terms of mobilizing public participation, we have so many other leaders. We are represented by 5, 6 leaders. Is only one who is missing. The people of Banisa have elected 6 people. Is only one who is missing. So they already have 5 more. The president, the senator, the governor, the ward rep. So we don't have shortage of leadership in this country.
Okay, let's take a break.
Thank you.
Again, I need to fill your cup.
Thank
you. Still have some tea there?
Yes, coffee.
Okay, I love the way you're putting, yes, coffee. Let's take a break. When you come back, I'm going to give you, I repeat, please take a screenshot of where you're watching us from, either for Christmas. Yours is not branded. I'm so unfair. I'm so unfair. Take a screenshot of Christmas, wherever you're watching us from, either my screenshot or Christmas screenshot, watching us where from, and talk to us. Tweet us on KBC at KBC. This is our Twitter handle. That's X. You find us here. And already, there is somebody who's already, and I've picked somebody, but I need as many as possible. I have a merchandise for you. Christmas, let's take a break. Sawa, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
毕竟信任，在那个年代，对我而言，是想都不敢想的奢侈品。
拿这个型号做什么？
哦，最近掌握的核心多了，就有些不太理解的地方。咱们是国家重点保密项目，可是设备实在是太陈旧了。
可是你太单纯了。
我可以在这待一辈子的。可是你到现在。
Ulienda then your IQ is not functioning.
Sitagi sina na sitagi. Mtume. Open your eyes. Buju buju.
Kizungu yake ni ya kuongea kwa mdomo. Hana haifiki kwa mfuko yake.
Na silisikia kwambia atakupeleka Dubai.
Labda nipeleke hapa Isili.
You look very smart.
Hapana, hii imesonewa hapo Katonzweni, hapo tu sokoni.
Hii ni yako.
Umenipatia tu.
Hiyo ufanya nayo ile kitu wewe unataka.
It is rumbling you.
On KBC Channel 1, we are a TV station like no other. Get a taste of the best in entertainment.
Yes, indeed.
Feel the passion.
Will you promise me?
I swear that you will never lose me. I can't get married to you.
I'm sure you knew about it. That's why you're making fun of me.
Experience the drama.
Get out.
Who's the man in this one?
And the laughter.
Hii wigi umevatishwa.
Sile wakati tulikuwa tunaapishwa tunapewa mheshimiwa.
Move to the beat.
We are live from Broadcasting House.
And get informed on the latest happenings. KBC Channel 1.
Wow.
We are the full package.
Oh, yes.
And Kenya's watching.
Thank you very much for joining us.
That we are giving away our merchandise, and so far the tweets are coming, and I'm going to be reading some of the responses on our social media. But Crispus, there is some feedback here as far as our debate is concerned. Yeah, you can also catch us live. This is a live feed, and there's a gentleman who on our wall says that okay, that's what's happening here. Very quickly. Okay, I'll come back to that later on. Now, as far as that's concerned, somebody is saying that this is as far as the question we started with on the front page of the Daily Nation, that's where it was, the sexual abuse. And there is a response here from tweet. The problem is that we have given, that's from Kihoto, at Kihoto 13840. Hey, Kihoto. The problem is that we have given homosexuality a lot of publicity, a kind of marketing device. At over 60, I came to learn more of this vice in my 20s. And now he says, now children as young as 20 are being given information on the social menace. Your take on that?
I want to agree with him that the whole homosexuality issue has gained a lot of prominence. But unfortunately, it has not really come from our own making, but because of the access to social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and even now live streaming of movies, which are filled with a lot of LGBTQ content. Children are gaining access to this information at a very young age. And without proper guidance, they may think this is normal. This is the acceptable way of sexuality.
Yes.
So we need to have this conversation so that we also guide them and tell them, This is acceptable in the Western world. But as Kenya, as Africa, this is not acceptable. And this is why it is not acceptable. We have to give reasons. We must also appreciate that the fact that we have divorced ourselves from our traditional values, our cultural values, has also given room for these Western values to get room into our way of life. We need to have an understanding with our children that our background is African, and therefore they are required to also understand where they come from. We need to have a conversation with them. Even the curriculum at school needs to entrench our African cultural values as a part of the teaching that our children get. We should have less of the Western world, but more of the African, so that our children can come to appreciate who they are and where they come from and where they ought to be.
Okay, again, from Kihoto. Kihoto says that all Joho has is money and, wow, no brains required to maneuver the intrinsic parts of a political party. That is his opinion, though. He has all the money, but perhaps the knowledge and the know-how to run the inner details of a party, that's what's lacking. What do you make of that? Again, Kihoto responding.
But I want to just ask, which intellectual has ever led a political party in Kenya? Which really intellectual party, other than the Dr. William Ruto, who is the most learned politician so far? All the others have not been able to successfully run a political party with their degrees and their PhDs. Kenya has never been ready for an intellectual to be a party leader. If intellectuals were to be party leaders and win elections, very many of them would have been, but none of them. Politics in Kenya is about noise, money, and violence.
What did you say?
Noise, money, and violence. Those are the...
but can we change that narrative, though?
It is very sad.
Then we go back to ideologies.
It is very sad. It's very sad because as recent as last year, we were fighting on the streets. What did we fight for? Cost of living and the audit of the IEBC servers. Okay? So we went to a national dialogue conversation, isn't it? Did all those two issues come out of the report? Despite people paying their lives with their lives for those two issues. What came out of those issues is what we rejected in BBI. Office of the Prime Minister, Office of the Opposition Leader, offices for human beings. Nothing to do with the cost of living or the audit of the election process. Okay? So violence was used, okay, to achieve a means, not what Kenyans thought they was achieving, but something else. So even our young people who today saw that violence, they know I can cause violence, not to get what I tell Kenyans they need to get, but what I want. So violence will never, it will be very hard to divorce violence from our politics.
Okay. Again, we have gentleman mistaken identity. Chirchir. Mistaken identity says that Kenya is turning into a country that some of us wished, because our police and army being deployed at Haiti indicates that in terms of defense and security, our nation is good. This is relations to the Haiti story that we discussed earlier.
I would want to say that statement when we don't have guns being shot in North Rift. Yes, after the North Rift is quiet, then we can. Because if we cannot handle North Rift, then I just don't know how we will manage the gangs in Haiti. Because they are worse than, the gangs in Haiti are worse than even our bandits. Yes, our bandits are young, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, young boys under 20. And they are not many. They are not, I don't think they are in their 1,000s or 2,000s. It's just that the land is very big and rugged. But we have not been able to deal with them. How will we deal with the urban warfare in a country we don't know, in a language we don't understand? Yes.
I mean, just last week, over 4,000 inmates.
Yes.
They freed themselves and disappeared.
The man who came to visit here, he's not been able to go back to his country. The Americans are running away.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have a lot.
You have to give to mistaken identity that we have a good. I mean,
it can be celebrated.
Yeah.
But as long as we are not able to deal with our own banditry, somebody may question.
All right. Okay. I still repeat. Keep tweeting. We have a merchandise for you. Already we have got 2-3 winners. Crispus. Crispus is going to read for us the winner today. And tweet us where you are watching us from. The key thing is take a screenshot of either me or Crispus, and you stand a chance of winning KBC This Good Morning Kenya merchandise here. And we are going to announce the winner at the tail end of this live broadcast. But now let's come back home, talk about the issue of IEBC. The question is, so the case of boundaries delimitation is, we have got the constitutional deadline that has to be adhered to.
Yes.
Sometimes in a couple of weeks to come. So what's going to happen? We don't have IEBC structure ready. We don't have the house in order. And they must go through some rigorous training. The country and boundaries delimitation is also a process. So how are we going to go about this?
There's a proposal in some of the bills that are being pushed in Parliament from the NADCO report to amend that law that requires the boundaries to be reviewed between 10 and 20 and 12 years of the promulgation of the Constitution to read 12 and 17.
Yes.
That will now give us room to do these changes beyond 2027. So if that amendment goes through in Parliament, which I don't see any much opposition to it, the review of boundaries may not happen now, but will happen sometime between now and 2027. So there's still room for that change.
Any legal battle if that doesn't happen?
We have seen our public interest litigants being very vibrant. So I foresee a possibility somebody going to court and blocking it. But we need to understand, it is the business of Parliament to make laws. It is the business of the judiciary to interpret those laws. So as long as the Parliament makes good laws, whoever may want to object will have a serious challenge. The challenge has been Parliament sometimes has been churning out laws which are not very good. And they are easily challenged. So we need to make sure that whatever comes of Parliament going forward is something that can withstand the test of any judicial process.
Yeah. So this is what you have. Again, you can take a look at what you have here. On this is in as far as the issue of IBC is concerned, the issue of Vanessa, the member of Parliament, that is member of Parliament then, Kulo Maalim Hassan died on March 29th last year. We are already in March.
1 year.
1 year down the line, at the Constitution 90 days within which they were to have a by-election is way lapsed. So the mistrust between the political divides saw the battle over IBC Constitution in and out of court with eventual preference for dialogue. I ask you whether this is going to cure the issue of IBC and even how it's going to pan out as we come to 2022. We still don't have the commission yet. And now, the court also ruled in a certain way, but the political class also say that, wait a minute, we have to do this on our own. So what takes precedence, the court or the political class to go the way? Because court said that, we cannot have political horse trading when picking the an independent commission of an independent body.
You see, and that's what I was saying. We need to make sure that we have a law in place that completely divorces the process of forming an IBC commission
from
with politics. With politicians and political parties.
But there's a very thin line between that commission and
you
politicians.
Understand? Because the existence of political parties in Kenya has become so short. The oldest party today is KANU, but it has no influence whatsoever within the structures of politics today. It is followed by ODM. The other parties that have come and gone, TNA, URP, Jubilee, that have even formed governments, that heads of states have come out from, don't exist. So is it about political parties or the people? So we need to make sure there is a system that is secure to protect the interests of Kenyans, because Kenyans will always be there.
Yeah.
But political parties will come and go.
Yeah.
So we need to cure this process by making sure that the formation of an IBC, a complete IBC, commission and secretariat, is something divorced completely from political parties.
Right.
Because, if, for example, if ODM is because of Raila, and Raila goes to AU, and it loses the vibrance it has today, are we going to start now looking for another party to start discussing about NADCO?
Yeah.
So we need to really divorce ourselves from this over-reliance on political parties to determine how we govern our politics in the country.
Absolutely. Yeah. Crispus, I'm going to give you a break. But as we do that, I want to take a quick look at the traffic now that we're almost coming to 9 a.m.
Yes.
For those people who've been watching us and still waiting to see how the traffic is.
Nakuru.
Hey, barabara iko wazi Nairobi na Kenya mzima. Before you leave your house going about your business, let me give you a quick tour of the traffic situation. You're doing a good job, Crispus. Good job, good job.
Thank you.
You are fully rejuvenated.
Yes.
That hiatus was good for you. I see. You did more of that.
Yes.
Okay. So, kama bado uko nyumbani, this is what you are looking at the city. Is already, I mean, the outlook here, this is around Bagadi as you join Daystar University, this around Chiromo, this is around City Mortuary, thereabout. It's already not so good as you join that roundabout the Ngong Road and that stretch headed between Daystar University and DOD, the two roundabouts. It's a mess.
Really
but you'll have to give it to that patience because of the roundabout again. But after that, it's moving pretty fine ultimately, but not so far until you head towards Sarawak Pan Africa as you head towards the CBD. Just right, not so far away from where we are. So this is where we are. The entire stretch past Sarawak Pan Africa as you come to All Saints Cathedral, joining Kenyatta Avenue is already a mess. Look at how it looks like right now in the CBD. Hey, Wakenya, you're serious, guys. I like this. I like this. When you see there's a lot of traffic, then it means people
money in the pocket.
Yeah, really?
Fuel.
I see what you mean there. But anyway, the entire stretch, people are busy. I mean, it's bumper to bumper, the entire stretch inside the CBD, Accra Road. Ukuchini, if you've never been to Accra Road, around that tea room, then you've never been to Nairobi.
Yeah.
You have never been to Nairobi. Yes. So coming all the way to that side of Thika Road, not so good.
Wow.
Muthaiga Square, look at it.
Wow.
It's coming all the way past Muthaiga Square as you come towards Pangani Shopping Center. Today, or to Kiambu Road, you are a bit lucky. The problem is on that side of Thika Road, which also extends at around Survey, thereabout. And then, yeah, it's moving.
And as I was mentioning, I was saying,
yes,
there has come to the realization that building roads is not always the cure. If you look at Thika Road, up to that survey section,
yes,
12 years ago, we were here with traffic.
But because
the Thika
majority of the population moved to that side.
Yes, because the Thika Road was still, had a challenge.
Yeah.
But now we are coming back there because everybody has moved to that. But still, as much as they are moving there, they still want to do business in the CBD.
Yes.
So we need to create satellite cities within Nairobi or outside Nairobi to help take a bit of this load that is coming to Nairobi CBD every morning. Yes.
Yeah. I'll give you, before we finish, I'll show you a picture of Thika Road way back before President Kibaki put machines on that road.
Wow.
Man, you'll not believe it.
Yeah.
Again, this is the Likoni Ferry Channel, Mamangina waterfront here, both sides of Likoni. It's already a mess as people, they're waiting to cross the channel to go either both sides of the island. Again, into the CBD, looking pretty fine as you come out to Mombasa. It's already a mess as you come to the New Nyali Bridge here. And towards, actually this is now outside, towards Kongowea Market here. This is where we have Kengeleni. This place is called Lights. This is the only place we have got traffic lights in Mombasa around this place. That's why you call Lights.
Yeah.
The name coming from here. And the entire stretch of Kongowea Market, again, look at that. It's very much bumper to bumper. Let's be patient. Finally, as we come towards, not finally, I'll have to go somewhere else. Kisumu, looking pretty fine. And I have to say that there is no traffic in the lake. Yo lazima niseme Christmas. Hakuna traffic. Lake iko sawa. There's no traffic.
City is doing very well.
Yeah, look at that. It looks good.
We follow along the trends in the Kisumu City as Nakuru City.
Have you? I see what you are meant to do there. Have you ever gone to Dunga Beach?
Not yet. Not yet. I need to.
What are you doing with your beautiful life?
You know, we only know the beaches in Mombasa.
I mean, we have
Kisumu needs to market itself. I want to tell you, like, for example, if you go to Entebbe or the shores of Lake Victoria in Uganda, they are very, very vibrant, as opposed to the vibrance that we expect in Kisumu and Homa Bay, which is not there. So I believe the Lake Victoria as a country, we have not taken fully advantage of it in terms of building the blue economy of tourism along the shores of Lake Victoria, the Kenyan side.
Yes.
But on the other side, if you go to Tanzania, if you go to Rwanda, Uganda, they have a really vibrant tourism sector, domestic especially, along the shores of the Lake Victoria.
Very well. Yeah. Again, hakuna traffic Nakuru. I have to be fair. Hakuna traffic like Nakuru. This is what you have. There's no traffic in Lake Nakuru. So, Crispus, we are all safe.
Very safe.
In football, you say goal, goal.
Even the streets are clear.
Even the streets are clear. This is what we call GG in football. Crispus, let's take a look at what we have, the feedback. We talk to our people that they tell us where they're watching us from. And here we are. Let me see if I have a winner already. We have, if you tweeted and sent a message where you're watching us from, you're going to win a merchandise. This is Kihoto No. There's a gentleman here who tweeted. Let's go there. There's a gentleman who, yes, Robert Ouko. Robert Ouko, there you have it. He posted, that is Robert Ouko, watching from Kisii, Mosocho.
Wow, wow.
All right, from Kisii, Mosocho. He's taken a screenshot of yours truly, watching from Kisii, Mosocho. That is, Ongeri, our director, says, Huko ni kwetu. So we have Robert Ouko from Mosocho. Please talk to us on our inbox, in DM us your details, and we'll make sure that you get your merchandise. That is Robert Ouko, first winner. Thank you for watching. We have, let's see if you also have another one here. We have another gentleman. Do we have? Yes, another guy here. This is yours.
Wow.
A screenshot of Crispus explaining himself. Who? Ibra Muita. Ibra, at Ibra Muita. You didn't tell, watching from Malaba border.
Malaba border, wow.
Ibra, how are you going to get your merchandise? No, I'll make sure you get it.
You have to curate.
Yeah, Malaba border, all the way from Malaba border watching. He tweeted at 8 to 8 a.m.
Wow.
So, Ibra Muita and yes. Do you have another one here? Thank you for watching. No, that is Marie and yours truly. And let's see, do we have any other person here again? Yes, another winner here. This is Jeff. Jeff says that great show, watching from Kiambu. Our neighbors.
Just nearby.
So, we have got 3 guys. So, we have got 3 winners. Jeff, we just come to KBC and pick your merchandise. Come to KBC tomorrow, any time of the day. Just DM us your contacts and we'll make sure that you get your merchandise. So on this, I have got 2 screenshots. You have 1.
You're doing very well.
But thank you so much for watching. Gentlemen, thank you much for watching. That is where we wrap it up on Good Morning Kenya. Asante sana. My name is Victor Lo. Thank you, Crispus Wathimba, for being part of the show. And even you, the gentleman who tweeted, Asante sana, please talk to us on our social media handles, DM your contacts, and we will make sure that you get your merchandise. All right? Thank you so much for watching. I'm Victor Lo. GMK takes a break. We'll be right back with more.
KBC Channel 1 imeandaa vipindi spesheli katika mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhan mwaka huu kwa ajili yako.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Kando na ukumbi wa Kiislamu na hutuba ya Ijumaa, kutakuwa na makala yanayoangazia maswala ya funga, mawaidha,
whosoever witnesses the month of Ramadan, then he should fast.
Vipindi vya mapishi.
Katika mapishi ya Ramadhani tutatayarisha pilau ya korosho. Utahitaji viazi, vitunguu vinne vikubwa na zabibu
na kaswida mbalimbali. Ramadan kana. Pia tumekuandalia kalenda ya Ramadhan ili kukuweka kwenye mstari wa mbele katika funga yako. Tazama runinga ya KBC Channel 1 katika mwezi huu mtukufu wa Ramadhan ili kukuza na kuhifadhi imani yako.
Then your IQ is not functioning.
Sitagi sina na sitagi. Mtume! Open your eyes. Buju.
Kizungu yake ni ya kuongea kwa mdomo. Haifiki kwa mfuko yake.
Na silisikiage kwa pia atakupeleka Dubai.
Labda nipeleke hapa Isili.
You look very smart.
Hapana, hii imesonewa hapo Katonzweni, hapo tu sokoni.
Hii ni yako.
Umenipatia tu.
Hiyo ufanya nayo ile kitu wewe unataka. It is rumbling you.
In the heart of the Korogosho slums, a remarkable journey of hope and transformation unfolds. This is the inspiring story of the Mngaro Mtaani Foundation and its visionary founder, Torres Sam Omo.
I am the founder of Mngaro Mtaani. Mngaro Mtaani was founded in the year 2010 through a dream. Also after passing through a lot.
It all began with a young boy's dream. Torres, a product of these very streets, aspired to do something extraordinary, something that would touch the lives of his fellow residents in a meaningful way. His journey started with a simple observation. He noticed the daily struggle faced by the people of Korogosho, particularly the challenge of affording basic clothing.
Being in a situation that I have only one cloth, wearing it daily, going with it in the church, being that sometimes I could love to look decent, but sometimes I didn't have something to put on. The same would happen to my neighborhood and my neighbors. So at the time I sat down and started to think about what can I do how can I help this situation.
Driven by compassion and unwavering desire to make a difference, he launched his first initiative after completing his studies. The core idea behind this initiative was simple yet powerful. They would collect gently used clothing from those who had more than they needed and distributed them to those who had too little. It may have started as a simple idea, but it quickly gained momentum, providing much-needed clothing to families and individuals who could not afford new garments. But the Mngaro Mtaani Foundation does not stop at clothing. As Torres and his dedicated team witnessed the impact they were making, they realized there was much more they could do.
Mimi nasalimia tu wote wametusaidia na hii vitu, waambie tuko sawa. Wametusaidia sana.
They extended their initiatives to address various pressing needs within the community, such as menstrual hygiene support for young girls and essential assistance for the elderly.
for a menstrual hygiene, to give young girls sanitary towels, and also bring them mentors who can tell them, women mentors who can talk to them about menstrual hygiene, tell them that that is just a normal thing in a woman's life. And that's how we started now giving sanitary towels until we got a support from, I don't know if I can mention, we got a support from Safaricom. They gave us sanitary towels, then with pads, and then we started to run out a menstrual hygiene program in school.
Disaster response, mitigation, and recovery are also integral parts of their mission. When calamity strikes, the foundation is ready to respond promptly, demonstrating their agility and readiness to serve their communities in times of crisis.
There's also disaster response. There's a time Kibera was on fire, so we had little clothes in our store. So we made a call, and we received several clothes and some good donations. We took them to Kibera, and then that's when now we started doing a disaster response. Through disaster response, we also went to that place is called Solai. You remember the tragic that happened in Solai? We managed to collect like 2 trucks of clothes, then we took them there just to stand with the Solai victims.
One of the most compelling initiatives is the Boxer Boys, which acknowledges faced by the young boys today. This campaign provides them with essential items and support, emphasizing the importance of uplifting the boy child to build a brighter future for all.
We have a mentorship program that runs into schools, and this one cuts across. But we have a challenge with the boys because most of the people that are supporting us, most of their focus is on young women. And the boys have been left behind. As much as we're saying that no man should be left behind, the boy child is really suffering, and we would love to bring on to attention that the boy child should be taken care of, because if we empower more men, more women, who will marry these beautiful women with skills.
Beyond material support, the foundation organizes various activities for the youth, including sports events and mentorship programs. These initiatives offer not only opportunities for personal growth, but also a sense of community and belonging.
We also have sports in Mungarum Tani. And how does sports work? Every year we have a tournament. It's like a super cup, whereby we have a program that we want. Maybe it's like a theme, or we want to bring young people together, and no one is left behind. What a man can do, a woman can do, a girl can do. So we bring a mixed tournament whereby we have 3 boys and 3 girls, or 4 girls and 3 girls, depending on how your team want to play.
Torres and the Mungarum Tani Foundation are real-life heroes. They stand as a testament to the belief that one person's determination and compassion can create a ripple of positive change within a community.
Every individual has their internal struggles they would rather keep to themselves, away from the scrutiny of others. Meet Chebet, not her real name, who seems okay from the outside, but she carries with her a painful story. It was a day like any other when she boarded a motorbike to go to work, when the motorcyclist diverted to what he termed a shorter route.
Akaniambia tunaenda na hiyo ndo tufike haraka. Akasema sasa hivi mapema na mtu hata penye ananipeleka haifai, but ile nikamwamini, nikaona asamesema pia anaenda kare, acha niende anifikishe haraka kwa sababu hata nilikuwa nimechelewa.
That ride will change her life forever.
Sasa kwa good luck ikasimama, bado sasa ile kusimama akanigonga, so kuanguka ndo akashuka kwa pikipiki akakuja akanizamuta, ndo akanitoa trouser akaanza kunirape.
She felt like the world had conspired against her, and she wept for days on end.
So like hakuna mtu nimeingizwa hapo ndani, sasa nikakosa advice nitafanya nini kwa familia yetu, hakuna mtu anakuwa anajua, so nilikuwa nashinda tu kwa nyumba analia, nasema sasa kutakuwaje.
She opted for counseling.
Na sasa nilikuja hiyo first session, niliona like kuna wasichana wengine, so nikakuwa like kumbe si mimi peke yangu, ningeka kwa nyumba ningeumia peke yangu.
At the recovery center, we met 2 more women who have also suffered from domestic violence. As mothers and wives, they persevered abuses from their spouses for a long time.
Mi kufika saa 4, it's like aliona nimekuja kama saa 8 usiku ama sijui ni nini. Akaanza kunipiga, akanipiga. Watoto wamelala, anawaambia wasijaribu kuongea.
For Elizabeth Wambui, her love story turned into a nightmare when she got pregnant.
I just wanted a yes or no answer. You promised to take me for the baby we are expecting shopping. Are we going so that I can get ready? But he snapped off and started beating me up.
She wanted to save her marriage, but in her silence, it would seem she was digging her own grave.
At a point where now he takes a metal and he's strangling me. He wants to kill me. And he's swearing curses and swearing how he will kill me and kill the children.
Counseling for both women was a 7 grace that brought them peace and healing. They want other women to break the silence on gender-based violence.
Ifanywa kitu kwa hiyo, inafaa ujitokeze. Kwa sababu mimi sikuwa na courage ya kukuja hivi.
Msivumilie, watu wengi sana wanakufa. Wanauliwa juu ya tijina nimeolewa. Siwezi toka kwa mume wangu.
Stop keeping quiet, because keeping quiet first of all is the enabling factor for these people.
Fina Nyakwara, case manager from the Gender Violence Recovery Center, attributed most gender-based violence in Kenya to patriarchal culture.
And because again, when you look on the culture and the stereotyping in the society, sometimes it drags the elimination of gender-based violence in Kenya actually. But it just calls for so many individuals or partners just to work towards elimination.
Abar Sadi, a safety consultant, calling for a collective responsibility to eliminate gender-based violence.
It's not an individual responsibility. It's a responsibility of the state that those women works on or operate in. It's a responsibility of the organizations on general and the organizations that are working on the women issues. So it's not only the responsibility of the woman only to protect herself, but it is related to the society.
The gender-based violence hotline 1195 works in partnership with the Ministry of Public Service and Gender to help victims get fast assistance to healthcare assistance.
Nowhere in the world is a woman safe from violence. The need to unite and invest in the key preventive measures will go a long way to eliminate violence against women.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. This is Transformative Leaders, and today we are going to talk about youth and leadership. And in studio, I am joined by one Honorable David Mwangi, who is a businessman, and a youth leader. Karibu sana to the studio.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Karibu sana.
How are you doing?
Yes, very, very fine.
Yes.
Sasa, you've been involved in youth leadership.
Yes.
Talk to us about that journey.
Okay.
Yes.
Some people say leadership, you're born with it. Others say you learn it along the way.
Yeah.
Some others say when you die you learn it, so I don't know when. Yeah. So, but anyway, my name is David Mwangi. I was born in a place called Kericho. I grew up in Nakuru. By then, I didn't also know I was a leader, but now it begins from there, whereby I would see myself trying to make decisions for crowds and for large groups. Let me start from university. That is the best place to start with. My leadership journey started in university. I was in Masaryk University. I became and I was elected a student leader in Masaryk University for my 3 years that I was there. So that is where actually I began. I was a secretary general. First I was the acting, I became the secretary, then finally became an acting president in Masaryk University. After university, now that's where another story begins, because after university, the question is, what next? What next in terms of leadership, in terms of career, in terms of everything? Your life begins afresh. So I came to Nairobi. I've worked for Jimmy Wanjigi as his PA. So ukinipigia naweza kuconnect. So now I decided in the same year when he was running for president, I decided also to run for the Nairobi senator. I was young yet, very young then, not much finances, but at least we hit the road running. And I became number 3 out of the possible number 14.
When you talk about politics, I see your journey started in politics. Started early. So talk about the experience you had, especially when you ran for the Nairobi senatorship.
Politics is not a walk in the park. It's where men fight. Men between the age of 18 and 90, to say so. Whereby no one understands your age, but the fight is towards the goal. And sometimes the goal is not helping the Kenyans or helping the people. The goal is getting the seat. That is why we lose the track. But now it doesn't make you, because you want to change people's life, now it makes you weaker, or it makes you at an advantage. You still have to fight. You still have to enter into the mud and fight. So my political journey hasn't been easy. Number one, I didn't have finances, as I said. I've met stronger people, bigger finances. They were hitting me left, right, and center. You go to some areas, you chase away. You go to some areas, you tell, we won't listen to you. But all in all, we talk to the people. We made the youth understand that it's not about the money. It's about the vision and the focus.
It also teaches you about resilience. So how would you say you grew in terms of resilience during that time?
Politics has made me be more resilient. It has made my mental health very strong, very strong, because now I come to understand to a point that I can understand that life is about challenges, it's about fighting. And the battle that you put on today is a battle that you should make sure that you can put it again in 10 years to come. Never fear the size of the dog. Someone told me that. Always fear the fight inside the dog.
Now, that speaks to, it brings to mind the aspect of the place of youth in politics. What do you think, or where are we so far in terms of the place of youth in politics?
Worldwide, we have 1.65% of youth in elective positions. That is the youth between 15 and around 28 years. Below 40, that is between 15 and 40 years. We have 11.85%. That is worldwide. You find that that figure is not even balancing, whereby the youth below 40 years are about more than 50% of the current generation, of the current world population. But the representation is so poor, and it doesn't work. Because why? Most of the youth who enter those politics, at those political positions, at that point, most of them are not, they have not done it by their own. It's someone who has taken them from somewhere. They're like, they have godfathers, so they work for someone.
Like mentors?
Like, not all mentors, those are godfathers. A godfather is not a mentor. That one, they work for people. But now, if you have a mentor, it's someone that he mentors you how to lead. But now most of the leaders that we have who are youth, and also they are very few, they really cannot, they have to dance to some tune. They cannot dance to the tune of the public and the general needs that we have. That is one of the challenges. And then now when you see if that we're having that 1.65 or 85% of the youth, the representation is poor, such that the youth doing the leadership at that point is so overburdened. And so it's so hard for them to move. For example, if they're moving matters in parliament, if they're moving bills in parliament, the voting will not lead towards the youth. It will always be a lot of stories.
What do you think discourages the youth in getting into politics?
4 things discourage the youth from getting into politics. Let's start with the first thing is finance. Whether we like it or not, we have to talk about finance. Pesa hapa tukiongelea, we mean money to fuel your campaigns. Money, not, I won't say money to bribe people, but money to fuel your campaigns. Money also to pay a few workers that work with you because they have to eat by the end of the day. We're also talking about money for publicizing your stories, your pictures, your agendas, and so on and so forth. We are talking about money for transport movement from one place to another. For example, Nairobi has around 90 wards. 90 wards you have to move through during the campaigns. And you have to enter all of them since you need the votes. You can imagine the financial muscle that you need for that. You also need money for security because you have to be secured, and that is one of the challenges. Number two, the other challenge that the youth have is the ability or the mental capacity. You'll find that Mimi Leo, if I'm fighting for a political seat, why should I fight for a political seat yet I'm sleeping hungry? I first look for money, eat fast, clothe fast, have a shelter fast. That is the basic thing that a youth needs right now. And it is so rare to find a youth who will go out of their way and say, now I'm comfortable here, now let me run for a political seat or an elective position. That is number two. Number three, we're having support from the current generation, that is the youth, and the older generation. You'll find that very few youth support their own. Most of the youth will be carried away by money. They'll be carried away by, they'll say, kijana tukimsaidia, when you help this youth, he will go and leave us. He'll get the money, so we will not assist him. So that is another challenge. The fourth challenge is having a political vehicle, and that we've already said. A political vehicle, in terms of this, when we're talking about a political vehicle, we mean a party. This country has no party that supports the youths properly. You find that if you're supposed to pay a nomination fee of 200,000, the ICC, in the IBC, sorry, at least it divides the fee into a half. But sometimes it is too much, even the half the youth cannot afford. So if a youth cannot be able to get food, are they able to get the money to pay the political parties? They are not. So those are some of the challenges that are really messing up the space for the youth.
Yes. In your own perspective, is there something, when you talk about youth and leadership, especially in politics, is there something that the youth miss out if they do not participate in these things?
In life, when you miss presentation, when you miss participation, when you miss presence, you're nowhere. There is no way you'd live where you're not available. You will not be living in your house if you're never there. So when the youth are not in the leadership, when they're not in the positions that are there, they miss out. Why? Because during the debates, no one will represent them. During all these stories that will go on and people will take proposals to the president, to the senator, to the governor, if no one fights for the voice of the youth, nobody will fight for them. And it is not because they don't want to fight for them. It's because they don't understand the current youth. We are having two types of youth right now. You're having a generation called generation, I think Alpha or Z, I don't know, the young youth, and we're having the youth around 25 to 35. Those are two different personalities. You'll find that this other generation, people think that they're lagging behind because they're lazy. No, it's because their representation, what they want right now in life, is not well taken care of and represented.
I'm going to cut you short, but we are coming back to that point after this short break.
Thank you.
Then your IQ is not functioning.
Sitagi sina na sitagi. Open your eyes. Buju.
Kizungu yake ni ya kuongea kwa mdomo. Hana haifiki kwa mfuko yake.
Na silisikia kwambia atakupeleka Ndubai.
Labda nipeleke hapa Isili.
You look very smart.
Hapana, hii imesonewa hapo Katonzweni, hapo tu sokoni.
Hii ni yako.
Umenipatia tu.
Hiyo ufanya nayo ile kitu wewe unataka.
It has rumbling you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. This is Transformative Leaders, and we are talking about youth and leadership. And in studio, I'm joined by Honorable David Mwangi. And before we went on a break, we were talking about the things that youth miss out if they do not participate in leadership, especially when it comes to politics. If we may continue on that point.
We talked about if you're not present, you're absent.
Yeah.
So if you're not present, you're not represented.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where we were. So we were looking at a point where you are, even if you are underrepresented, you're still not represented. That is, you're misrepresented. So the problem and the challenge we have right now in Kenya, the youths are either underrepresented, misrepresented, or not represented at all. Wherever you find, this is a post for the youth.
Yes.
But Mzee, you are 80 years. You are still struggling for our post.
Yes.
That is misrepresentation,
Yes.
totally. You don't understand us. You cannot tell us what we need to do.
Yes.
You cannot tell us what we have as our challenges. Because the challenges we have right now are not the challenges we used to have.
It also beats the idea of youth are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yes, it beats, because now where is the tomorrow? Not unless we are saying that, when you're 80 now, that's when you're a youth. Now that's your tomorrow. So we are having misrepresentation and underrepresentation. Underrepresentation, by here we mean the youths who are in parliament, the youths who are in leadership positions are very few, whereby they cannot fight for the rest of the youth. That's why I was telling you they cannot even fight for a motion. Totally, because they're few. And also I was talking about two things I've said: underrepresentation, misrepresentation, or not being represented.
Exactly.
That is being absent. Being absent is whereby you find this is a youth seat, but there's no youth in it, whereby nobody can take their stories to the front. I've told you we have a generation behind us, the generation between 18 and 25. They have no representation. People don't understand them. They'll be fought. Kidogo kidogo, you'll hear them being told they're lazy. But that is how they operate. They'll be told they want money faster. They want to grow fast. But that's how their mind is. And if they don't have a representation, they will not be represented, and we will not understand what they really want.
Maybe we are talking about so much about youth and leadership, but also we tend to forget about attributes of a good youth leader.
Okay.
Yes.
In leadership, we have two things. We have let me put it about training, or let me put it about empowerment.
Exactly.
Or nurturing, that's the word I'm looking for. Nurturing a leader begins when they are young. They can begin when they are very young, when they are youthful. They need to understand who is a leader. And they need to understand what are the things that a leader should do. Number one, if a leader should be followed. Why? Because they're able to understand a leader leads the way. He is not followed because it says what should be done. It is because he leads the way and the other people follow. A leader is someone who represents not himself but represents the people. In Africa, which you have most third world countries, we have a problem whereby most leaders are not nurtured. Leaders just, you get your money, you decide now you've become a leader, yet you're not a leader. In other countries, we have leadership schools from at an early age, whereby someone is able to know which areas am I supposed to represent. I'm so shocked that some of the leaders in this country and their political leaders don't even have offices. So my question is, where do you even meet them? At what point do you even, if you have a problem, where do you find them? Some operate from the cars, some operate from vacuum. So a leader needs to be trained from right from a young age. Secondly, after being trained, we have something called the heritage part. Heritage is whereby you are able to keep what you've learned. You find most of us were leaders in university. In university, we were so many leaders. I'm sure the university that you were in, there's someone you would identify and say, hey, this one can become president. This one must become governor. Have you ever asked yourself today, where is that person? Why? Because after university, that gap is where now we have the heritage.
Yes.
You are already nurtured in university and college.
Yes.
When you reach after university, you get confused where to start. Is it to feed your problems, or is it to feed the country with better ideologies?
Yes.
So what happens? You lose track.
Yeah.
So you lose the heritage. And so you'll find that those leaders disappear. And they were very good. You find that in a university, we have 40,000 students.
Yeah.
You have one acting or a president or a chairman. Nowadays they are called chairman. That chairman is able to fight for the rights of 40,000 people.
Yeah.
40,000 people is a whole constituency.
Exactly.
A whole constituency per se.
Yes.
The problems in university and colleges are the same problems you're having with people outside here. If it's sanitation, if it's issues to do with education, if it's issues to do with everything, roads and stuff, they are there in the university and the colleges.
Yes.
But this heritage, when you lose it, there's no transformation between university and colleges and the political leadership. And now, so we lose a great part, a good number of good leaders that would be having.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you say, from what you have just said, can you say that the youth now feel like they are not fully embraced when it comes to politics and leadership?
Embracing the youth when it comes to leadership is they feel under embraced. Why?
Yes.
Because there's no mentorship. If today I would ask how many leaders that we've had in the past that have mentored the youth, you find none. Most of the old leaders, most of the people who have been in those leadership positions for long, they want to stay in those positions for way too long. Yeah. So they fear empowering the youth. They don't empower the youth. They don't even mentor anyone. If it's not your family, you cannot mentor someone outside the family. Yet maybe your family does not even have leadership skills. You can get someone who has a leadership skill and mentor them so that you can have a better community. Yes. But the selfishness sometimes leads to that, and people want to be in positions for way too long.
Yeah.
And yet we've not been this earth for way too long. Yes, yes.
Let me take you a little back to the attributes of a good youth leader. Talk about the importance of having a solid vision.
Okay. As a youth leader, the importance of having one vision is you are able to stick and maintain and focus. You cannot focus on 4 goals. You are a leader, you want to assist people in unemployment. Then other stories come whereby now they need, you hear another issue of empowering the youth. You stop first with the employment, you go to another side. Have one focus, have your goals written down, achieve them fast. You will not be the leader forever. There will come another leader. You achieve your goals, leave the rest for another leader. Because time changes. You'll try fight for the youth wholesomely, but you'll not make it. Today, if you're fighting for unemployment, let's handle that. If you're looking at mental health for the youth, look at that. If you're looking at, right now we're having a war, and I know we'll talk about it, about the illicit brews and drug abuse.
Exactly.
If you're looking into that, look into that with the deep meaning, why is it happening and how you should deal with it. Have a goal and a focus. Yes.
One of the things that youth complain about is lack of employment. And one of the things that they want is to be given opportunities. But also there's also the aspect of creating those opportunities.
Yes.
Talk about why this is an issue for the youth.
When you went to college, those who went to college, who are lucky,
yes,
and those who went to university also, who are lucky. We went to university and colleges and we were trained to be managers. I don't know where we lose the link, because there's somewhere we lose the link and now we behave like now we went to the university to be employed. We went to the university, and I will tell these people point blank, to be managers. We went to be made to manage and be able to come up with ideas per se, whereby we are talking about creativity, inventions and such. That was the mentality. Most of us came out of the university with papers and degree papers whereby we think we only present them and get jobs. Life is not like that. Yes. If we want to be trained to be managers, always have a mind of creating employment. If you have a mindset of creating employment, even if you miss the employment, you will be able to create an employment. You're a youth, you're about 22, 23 to 35 years. You can try as many businesses as 10 or 20 so that one works. And we have the fear of risk. The youth have the fear of risk. If I fail, what will my friends say? If I fail, if I do this work, if I start polishing shoes in Nairobi town, what will my friends say? I went to the university, I did a BCom. I went to the university, I did an engineering course. If I go to the streets and do this type of work, if I start selling my eye, what will my friends say? What will my parents say I do in Nairobi? Those are the questions and those are the fears that the youth have.
Yes.
And you'll find that such sectors, it's unfortunate to say this on TV, have been taken up by our neighbors. We are having people from other countries doing the work. You go to a place like Imenti, you'll find no Kenyan there doing the nails for the ladies. You go to a place like downtown, you'll find no Kenyan selling eggs. You'll find people from other communities. I'm sorry to say this, my Baba is not even Kenyan. I don't know which country he's from, but he's not Kenyan. He cannot even speak Swahili. And I go shaving, I think, every 1 week. I can imagine if he was a Kenyan, how much money would be earning. Not only from me, but even from other youth. You go even to as much as even the people who are selling eggs and coffee in the evening. You don't find Kenyans.
Yes.
You find guys with those mtungis and those mandazis. They're not Kenyans because us Kenyans we've neglected. But you'll hear us crying, there's no work. I want to go to Saudi Arabia, there's no work. I want to go to Qatar, there's no work. But are the opportunities that we have here, are we able to embrace them? Are we able? People will say, "Hii kazi ni chafu." But why don't you look at the money that it gives you? Those guys are making a lot of money. And the informal sector, I will tell the youth today, it has a lot of money. And youths have to come to their normal senses and agree to work. Always look at what money can do for you. Don't look how dirty and how much you do to get the money.
I think it also stems from the fact that maybe in a way people were raised to believe that once you finish your university studies or college studies, you are entitled to get a job.
Yes.
That mentality has affected how the youth approach employment?
Yes, it has affected, really. We grew up in a society whereby our mothers and fathers just told us, read. You read, Bona. When you reach campus university, everything will work out for you. So we were forced to be on the books full-time, 24 hours, 7 days a day, reading to get to the university. I also did that the same. I read deep into my books to reach the university. You reach the university again, the lecturer tells you, read again, you have to pass your examinations, you have to get second upper, you have to get a first class, whatever the case. Then when you get out of this university or the college, life is different now.
Yes.
Whereby you find where you're supposed to be, where you deserve is not where you are.
Yes.
But life is never fair. And life
will never be fair.
And life doesn't care. Life continues every day.
Yes.
You're either in a position or not.
Yes.
Life will move on. Today, if I did engineering, for example, water engineering per se, if I'm not doing your borehole, someone else is doing the borehole.
Exactly.
You need the water. You don't care about, with me, I did my engineering, as long as even the guy who is doing the borehole, even if he doesn't have a degree, the water, you get the results.
Yes.
So when you come outside here, life changes. Like I've said, enjoy the money, the results of the money. Don't select how you get this money.
The process is not
always the best. Not the same, and it is not the same.
Yes.
You'll find another guy who went to college, same class with you, he followed the career and he's doing fine.
Yes.
You did the same thing, you've applied to the same companies, and you don't get a job.
Exactly.
So when you get something that you can do aside, do it. And then also, Kenya is running fast. Kenyans need to understand that, and the youth per se need to understand that. You cannot have one job. If you're having a job of 8 to 5, you will never make it in life. Trust me. Because the bills first, for example, the bills in the cities, half or 3/4 of them are your salary. You remain with about 25%. 25% would transport 5% if you're using public means. If you're using a car, that is 10%. You remain with 15%. Savings, most of us are affected by black tax. You have to send money home. You have to do what such. You find yourself with 2%. You have to look for a different investment. No matter how small it may be, always do that. Because I was telling my friends yesterday, we were having a meeting, and I was telling them, hiring is a process. You will be hired by a company and go for interview. For 2 months. They have not hired you. They are still calling you and still continuing with the process. But today, firing is an instant decision. You're fired like there and there. Leave job. Now my question is, if you're hired and fired, after you're fired, where do you go to? Always have a backbone, whereby it will, I think COVID taught us good lessons. Let us continue doing the lessons.
So in other words, youth wajitume.
Wajitume.
Absolutely. Now, still on youth and leadership, talk about the inclusion of youth in policy formulation. Where do they fit in?
That now is a challenge currently. As we said, if you're absent, you're not there.
Exactly.
If you're not available, if your presence is not there, you cannot be there in any ideologies or policy making. let me give you an example of a current issue, currently, or that was running, or it's running, I don't even know whether I think it's still running. We had this committee in Bomas.
The NADCO.
The NADCO.
Yeah.
The NADCO gave, I think, 10 issues. The 10 issues that they covered, I don't know all of them, but I know a few of them. They covered political party, 2 for political party. I don't know what, one was for dividend and one was for I don't know what. They covered also elections, how elections should be run in our country. They covered something small to do with women. I didn't see it so much highlighted. And also they covered something with the opposition and how to share power positions. I didn't see them talk about the youth. Unfortunately, I didn't even see the youth who were in that committee. So that tells you, like I told you, that when there's omission and there's absence, there's no presence. Yeah. You cannot be covered by anyone. And people will not fight for and champion for your rights. The youth in this country are more than 50%. The whole committee didn't even have the youth as, even if they should be having even 30%. How do you expect us to talk about the youth, yet we're not the youth? The shoe press is the one who fits it. If you don't fit this shoe, you cannot, it doesn't press you. So we are having such challenges whereby the people who are up there, they don't consider the youth. They don't put them in such positions whereby they can make decisions. Most of the youth are put on the menu to be eaten. It's so rare for them to be put on the table to make the decisions. Yes.
Now, talk about the issues of mental health amongst the youth. They have been rampant, and some of them have resulted from the substance use.
Yes.
So, talk about the mental health situation of the youth.
The figure currently we are having, which is unfortunate, we are having 1 out of every 4 people in this country have mental health issues. That is the recent, that is the number. That is the numerical figure. Yeah. When you talk about 1 in every 4, that means if you have a population of 40 million, you have 10 million people have issues with their mental health.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, mental health does not stick with one person. For example, if in this studio we have 4, and one has an issue with mental health, it is not permanent to him. It can shift from him to you. Him is okay, now you are the problem. Yeah. So amongst all of us, the 4 of us, 3 of us may find ourselves in that situation at some season or at some point. So by the end of the day, a whole generation will have undergone that. Yeah. So the question is, how do we fight it? When I was doing my manifesto for Nairobi Senator in 2022, I had, my manifesto had a proposal to do a mental health facility, only a mental health facility, which is free for the Kenyans, mostly for the youth. Why am I saying so? Today, if I call a counselor, today, they will charge me 5,000 or 4,000 per hour. Wow. My problem is I don't have money. I'm unable to raise my children.
Yes.
Why will I get the 5,000 to give to a counselor to advise me or to listen to me? Will I get the 5,000 first to feed my family and pay the school fees, or pay a counselor to guide me on how to look for the money to pay the school fees? Yes. Now that is where the challenge is. So you find that mental facilities are very expensive, and not only that, even if they're expensive, the ones that we have also, they're not friendly. So if I have an issue with alcoholism, I will not take myself to Mathare. You guys will have to force me.
Yes.
Take me to Mathare and lock me there so that things work for me. Yes. So it is not a wish that I want. They should be more friendly, number one, very affordable. If today I want to cry out to you, and I want to say, maybe maisha imenifika mahali, I want someone to talk to. How accessible are you? Who takes care of you as you take care of me? So those are some of the challenges that we are having. And now we will have so many fights in this country. Yes. Right now we are fighting illicit brew. I was telling someone, yes, we are fighting the consequences. Yes. But are we able to fight the source? Are we able to identify the cause and the source of why are people drinking like this in this country? Yes, we will close, and I thank everyone for the efforts that they're doing. But always ask yourself, after we close all these bars, all these wines and spirits, are we able to identify why the youths are draining so much? Those are the questions that we should be having.
It's a chain reaction that should be investigated and muted at the source.
Yes, always mute everything in life at the source. Because even in discipline, if you install discipline at the end, it works for that short period. But if you install discipline at the beginning, it works for a whole generation. So we should ask ourselves, we are putting on these measures. Is there a bill? I was even asking someone, have you even tabled a bill in Parliament about this illicit brew? Have you put a bill in Parliament that shows that the youth should be employed and we should avoid most of the other people coming and taking the opportunities for the youth? Have you done that? If you have not done that, why should you be fighting alcoholism at the end and also you're not fixing the beginning? You will fight it at the end, but the generations will change. It will later you will not be the one in leadership. The person who will be there in leadership will decide not to fight alcoholism and decide to fight for the roads. Then alcoholism will be back. So we need to, if we are clearing something, you clear it from the source and you get done with it.
Nice.
Yes.
How can now the youth position themselves for leadership positions?
Okay.
Yeah.
The youths have tried to position themselves for leadership positions, but it's unfortunate, as we say, the challenges start from where we start with finances. I would encourage the youth 2 things only. First, you have to know without finances, you cannot be able to forge. So either you get the finances by yourself or you look for people who can support you financially. That is point blank. We don't have to keep on lying to each other. And then after that, you don't need a lot of money, though. You need for publicity. Let people know you. Let people understand your manifesto. Let people know that you're in the race. Because also me, I was in the race, but I didn't have the money. So what happened? People are doing billboards. Me, I'm not doing billboards. You see, that's the whole point. People are doing a few projects for the community. I am not doing the same. The youth need to allow themselves, as we are growing also, let us also try and get financial strength. All campaigns are pushed by finances. Even if you look at Trump right now, he's looking for people who can, he's a billionaire, but he's looking for people who can invest in his campaigns. And that is what we need. And also the old wazes should also entrust us. Don't use us too much as your small boys in town, and you want us to get positions so that you can use us. Also allow us to have a breathing space and assist our fellow youth.
Yes. How would you rate the youth that are in various leadership positions right now?
Out of 10, I would give them a 6. They are trying, but as we said, the issue is they have to dance to a tune. If they would not be dancing to that tune, or if they had their own political party, or if they had entered through in these systems through their own effort, they would be fighting for their tune. But now, right now, you are told to vie by someone who was pushing you. And that is the biggest challenge we are having. And the person has their own private and personal interests. So you'll have to dance to their tune and try to assist the youth where you can. Yes.
What is the role or importance of mentorship when it comes to leadership, especially amongst the youth?
You have to agree with me when we talk about mentorship that we have a vacuum between the people who are above 50 years. We call them golden age leaders. Above 50 years, now you're supposed to start mentoring people down here. The people who are above 50 years, they're not mentoring people down here. For them, they want to maintain their position longer. So we have that vacuum whereby the people who are 50 and the people who are, let's say, below 35, they're not being mentored by anyone. That's why we are having the youths in a very funny dilemma whereby they're in the dark. They want the leadership, but even if they get to the leadership, they don't know what to do next. You get to the leadership, the only thing that you will be doing on TV and on camera is saying how God has brought you from poverty to leadership. God didn't bring you from poverty to leadership to keep telling us how he has brought you. It's time to work for the people, because even more people are in that poverty that you are in. It's time for you to work. It is not time for you to do photos on business class and telling us that now the Lord is good, the Lord is faithful. It is time for you to work for us, and also so that we can see the Lord is faithful to you. So that's some of the challenges that you're having by lack of mentorship. Because mentorship creates a leader. You cannot be a leader without mentorship. You cannot, because things that you want to do for the people have been done by others. You will not be the first to put water in your area. You will not be the first to create, to build schools and classes in your area. People have done that in the past, and that is your duty to do. So if it is your duty to do it, you need mentorship so that you can be able to harness that and do it.
What is the place of self-confidence?
Self-confidence, when we talk about self-confidence in leadership, is whereby people can push an agenda. I'm not talking about chaos, I'm not talking about demonstration. It's about whereby you can look for a way to push an agenda. If today I want the youth to be represented 30%, can I be able to push a bill that will change the mentality of the people who are doing the bills with me? Am I able to convince them and tell them the youths are underrepresented? How can we work for this? Am I able to tell them how can we implement it after we have put the rules? You will put a rule today in this country. The implementation, nobody is there. Nobody wants to carry that and say, let us implement this. You will put today rules for ladies and women, but nobody wants to be part and parcel when it comes to the implementation. Yes. And to go back on the same, when we look about, I'm sorry, I'm taking you back. When you look about the mental issue of the youth right now, we're having too many femicides, we're having too many suicides, alcoholism and stuff. Why are we having that? Because nobody is ready to take the mantle and run and say, can we change lives? Can we do this and this? Are we able to fight? When we do a demonstration of ending femicide, does it end there? The other day we saw very many ladies, and congratulations, we had so many youths. Those who had mobilized, good work. But the question is, do we have a follow-up after that? Do the victims get justice? Do we have people who stand and prevent that before it happens? Those are the questions that we should be asking.
Thank you so much for gracing our show.
Thank you.
This has been a very interesting conversation with very insightful contributions. We have been talking to David Mwangi, who is a businessman and a youth leader, and I hope you have learned a thing or two about youth and leadership. This is where we cap matters. Good morning, Kenya. This has been Transformative Leadership segment. My name is Mike Migwe. Continue enjoying the rest of your viewing. Good morning.
Pursuit of greatness, WRC Safari Rally traverses Kenyan terrain through 5 stages. A path with diverse challenges that test the cars and the drivers. Strength, resilience, toughness, gusto, speed, and willpower against all odds. We launch with the Kasarani Super Special on Thursday, cruise through Elementaita on Saturday, and beeline to Hell's Gate on Sunday, where the winner will be crowned. Keep up with the daily news